Red Bull?
Yes.
Dude.
I'm getting about an hour's worth of sleep a night. I'm in
That's
so
not
much
good.
pain.
That's not good. Where's the pain?
Lower back.
Where do you think it is?
2 herniated discs that just won't heal. I don't know if they ever heal or not.
Isn't there a surgery or something you can do?
There is.
YouTube, baby. We are not doing Go Rouge this week.
We're not?
I have a federal thing Friday that how do I put this? The federal thing would subsidize Go Rouge for a year. So I gotta prioritize. You appreciate that, right?
A little bit.
Those kind of cases don't happen all the time, but when they do,
Yeah.
you reprioritize a little bit. Yeah.
I'm skipping Rotary today.
Yeah, that's probably gonna happen for me too. I've got I'm working on the. Speaking of death penalty cases, are you familiar with Ronnie Cato? Ronnie Cato.
Yeah, why do I know that name?
Ronnie Cato is being put on trial for first-degree murder. He shot his. He's alleged to have shot his the mother of his child's father, and then in a standoff, he's alleged to have shot a Baton Rouge police officer who died and as well wounded another one. So I am actually working on that case, and that is a death penalty case, and that's happening today. So that probably will spill over.
Where's that at?
It's in, I can't think of the judge's name. He beat Judge Anderson, but it's in the 19th. Dana Cummings is the prosecutor, so there's a hearing this morning on that.
There's a death penalty case in the 19th?
Mm-hmm.
We don't do that often.
Google Ronnie Cato. Ronnie. Anyways,
Why is
but
that
another
not bigger news right now?
but another cop shooting case too.
Yeah.
But the parallel, while I feel less comfortable talking about that case, the parallel is 2 victims. So what happens when one victim wants the death penalty and one victim doesn't? You know, cop shootings, normally that's... You've heard about this one. You've seen this one.
This guy can afford a lawyer?
No, it's a court appointed. I do a little bit of capital defense.
Okay.
I mean, I'm Franz Borghardt.
Hitler doesn't do a whole lot of...
No, it's the. That's what we're going to talk about. That's what we're going to talk about today. Is in Baton Rouge, it's the worst of the worst. They generally seek it. It's a legal standard. You have to have certain legal things present to seek the death penalty. But generally, it's the emblematic is shooting and killing a police officer.
Yeah, this guy looks like he's got a white beat on his butt.
That's a problem for you.
Huh?
That's a problem for you.
Just see,
Put the t-shirt. Put the t-shirt on. You're gonna.
You know, you look like Robin Harris at House Party.
Underappreciated movie.
Very underappreciated movie.
I never saw the second one, but.
Well, I got myself in trouble yesterday.
How so?
I was talking about the John Gruden shit.
Yep, I heard about that. Byron was at the event last night.
Yeah. Cool. But it was something I said with some other people that was problematic. He was talking about the former head of NFL Players Union. And he said he's got lips like Michelin tires. And I said, that's not even the real problem. The problem is ESPN has an exclusivity deal with Uniroyal.
That didn't go well.
That didn't go well. I thought it was funny. It wasn't the racism, it was the contract.
.606 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Good morning, everybody. Brian here with you. Jake Barty producing. Wednesday show is off and running. We're going to come at this from a number of angles today. Got a lot of topics to cover today, a lot of ground to cover. We're going to talk about the death penalty in a number of different forms and fashions with attorney Franz Borghardt coming up at 6:35. We are going to talk about running for Senate with Luke Mixon at 7:15. Ronnie Johns heads up the Louisiana Gaming Control Board. He's going to join us at 7:35. Why was I not able to make money on the Dodgers last night? We'll ask Ronnie Johns. State Treasurer John Schroder joins us at 8:15, and we've got a ton more ground to cover when it comes to everything from COVID-19 to Hurricane Ida recovery to getting you prepped for LSU versus Florida this Saturday in Tiger Stadium. Got to start off, though, with just a little bit of housekeeping. No major hot take here or anything. Just a little newsy announcement, traffic-wise, to announce. Officials announced yesterday one of Baton Rouge's heavily used roads will be closed for at least 2 days this week while crews repair an area drainage pipe. According to the East Baton Rouge City Parish Department of Transportation Drainage Traffic Engineering Division, Highland Road at Lee Drive can be closed down today and tomorrow. Might want to mark that one down. That's kind of a big one. Highland Road at Lee Drive will be closed today and tomorrow. Officials say the closure will begin today in about half an hour. So if you're on your way out that way, you still got, 22 minutes where you can get through. During the closure, only area homeowners will be allowed to access the road. So if you rent, you're screwed. Nothing? All right, fine. All other drivers should expect major delays and use they'll have detours posted up for you for sure. But nonetheless, kind of a big intersection, kind of a big deal. Highland at Lee, going to be shut down for the next 2 days. Hey, among the topics we're going to be covering today, and we'll start off with this a little bit. Among the topics we're going to be covering today is this Matthew Meir guy. And just kind of put this on a tee for right now, though we're going to go into it in depth in a little bit. The story from WBRZ reads, a prosecutor says there's a strong likelihood that the district attorney's office out there in Ascension Parish, or in the 23rd Judicial District, Ricky Babin's office, will pursue the death penalty against a man accused of a multi-parish shooting spree that killed 2 people over the weekend, including a state trooper. Ricky Babin is the district attorney in Ascension Parish, where both shootings happened Saturday morning. Matthew Meir is accused of ambushing trooper Adam Gaubert before opening fire on 2 people inside a home on Dutton Road. Investigators believe Meir fatally shot Gaubert inside his police unit and killed a second person, Pamela Adair. If you have not yet had the chance, I recommend checking out the advocate's write-up on the other victim here, because you want to talk about just living through an unbelievably sad story through multiple lenses. And the amount of coverage that's been all over this story from every angle, from Gaubert's perspective, from security cam footage that's out there of Meir, like, in between killings, from yesterday's press conference with the head of state police, and just from every angle out there, this has been nothing short of tragic. It just feels different than I don't know if we have comps for this in recent times. But nonetheless, we're going to talk about the death penalty in great detail. Not just in this case, but in other cases. Why do some DAs opt for it? Why do some DAs back away? Not back away. Take a different tact. It's probably a better way to put that. So, but that's not until we do Legally Served, coming up a little bit later on in the show. Hey, a lot more ground to cover than just that. William Shatner's going to space. That's kind of a big thing, right? Also, hearing radio waves from outer space. When Top Stories and Trending gets here at 7:05, 7:06, that's spoiler alert. Those are our two trending stories. William Shatner's going to space, and we're hearing radio waves from outer space. So many different, like, just the randomness of the stories today. It's all over the place. All right, we got to take a quick break. Before we do, though, got your lunch plans yet? Need to send you out to Mooyah Burgers, Fries, and Shakes. Mooyah Burgers, Fries, and Shakes. If you have not yet downloaded their app, I highly recommend you do that. Why? You can start earning points towards free burgers, free fries, and or free milkshakes. Not to mention the fact you're going to get the best burgers in town when you go through the front door. You're going to get the best service around as well. Whether you're looking for something that's as simple as an MDC, which stands for Mooyah Double Cheeseburger, or maybe something that is as unexpected as their Impossible Burger. It's not called the Impossible Burger. It's a black bean burger, but it's a non-meat burger, right? No matter where you're at on their menu, you're going to love what you're getting because you're getting top-notch ingredients. You're getting freshly cut vegetables. You're getting freshly baked buns. And, of course, the USDA-certified Angus beef on the burger itself. And you're getting the best service around, too. Enjoy your lunch today. Swing by Mooyah Burgers, Fries, and Shakes. Segan, just north of Industrialplex, or Blue Bonnet and Highland Road for Mooyah.
Take 30 seconds to save thousands. Go to LAContractor.org and take 30 seconds to make sure the person or company who wants to work on your home or business is licensed by the Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors. How much is 30 seconds worth to you? That's LAContractor.org.
Baton Rouge needs great elected leaders. If not you, then who? If you're curious about what it takes to run and get elected, we have the answer for you. Visit bralliance.org to learn everything you need to know about running for office or working on political campaigns at the Baton Rouge Alliance for Student Action Weekend.
Could listen to Chuck's voice all day long.
Takes place on November 19th through the 21st. Applications are open for this free opportunity
So
at
beautiful.
bralliance.org.
Isn't it, though?
That's BRALL.
Kevin Gallagher had that voice too. Has that voice. I could just. It's like the first time I listened to the Beatles. Just beautiful.
Oh, God. Morning, Eric. Morning, Galen. Oh, I got to scoot across the hall. 6:15, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Sports time on the show, and as he does every single week, Ed Ogeron was on Off the Bench with T-Bob Hebert and Jacob Hester. T-Bob sat in with me yesterday. We had a little conversation about the Tigers overall, about recovering from, all the injuries. I mean, they've been plagued with injuries all season long. I want to say the number of scholarship players on that team who have played in every single game so far, or who have been available for every single game so far, 36. That's 36 dudes from start to finish. That's a low number when you consider the number of scholarships that are out there. Anywho, Ed Ogeron was on the show with the guys yesterday on Off the Bench, and they asked him straight up about the job status and communicating that with the team and where he's at and everything under the sun with that.
Well, my job is to come here to LSU and coach the best I can on a daily basis. That's what I'm doing. And, out there, always about my job and all that stuff. Nobody's told me anything. As far as I know, the head coach of the LSU Tigers, I'm going to coach as hard as I can today, one day at a time.
Now, that being said, and that's the right answer. That is the right answer. Stay on task. But how do you keep that out of the locker room? How do you keep the guys that are on the team from quitting on the team? Because the more everyone hears about it, the more these things become self-fulfilling prophecies. How do you keep it out of the locker room?
Yeah, look, it's Florida, man. They, believe it or not, yesterday was one of our better Monday practices. A 24-hour rule on to Florida. Here's what I told them. I said, listen, you're going to remember this the rest of your life, that you decided to fight.
Yeah.
Your back's against the wall. You stayed together and you fought. And that's our mantra right now. Stay together and fight.
I was waiting for, let's not forget last year's Florida game. LSU was a 21-point underdog heading into that fog-riddled night in the swamp where Cole Taylor became legend. How about Florida? How are they looking this year? What's he seeing in the game film? What can we expect in Tiger Stadium with an 11 a.m. kickoff Saturday?
Well, first of all, I think Dan Mullen's one of the best play callers in the country. He knows exactly. He's very smart. I've known Dan since years at Syracuse. Very smart coach. He knows exactly where to call plays, the weaknesses of the defense. His running backs are outstanding. The way they run the ball, he's a big gap scheme guy. Powers, counters, a quarterback runs, and then when you commit too much to the run, he's going to catch you and throw play action pass with the tight end going up the field and stuff like that, and wheel routes. Excellent play call. This is going to be a tremendous challenge.
It is going to be a challenge, and it kicks off at 11 a.m., which is never a good thing in Tiger Stadium. Not necessarily a bad thing, but it's never a good thing. You want Saturday night in Death Valley, not a pregame show that starts at dawn. So with kickoff at 11, I believe pregame will start at 7 o'clock. Network pregame at 9. I know that one for sure. 11 a.m. kickoff, man. God, brutal. Not looking forward to it. But I am looking forward to seeing the Tigers get the opportunity to right the ship. Saints, I believe Saints are off this weekend. They have the Seattle next weekend when they come back from the bye week. Maybe a little bit healthier. Saw where Saints kicker Cody Parkey is on injured reserve. Will Lutz is due back soon anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Hopefully he'll be back before the bye week is over with. All right, we got to get you to the Fox Business Report. When we come back, let's talk a little bit more about Master Trooper Adam Gaubert. His funeral arrangements are set. We'll talk about it next. Made a couple field goals last weekend. Missed an extra point. Missed 2 extra points, I think.
I think every team missed an extra point at least. I think that's one of the worst kicking performances across an entire league I've ever seen. So many missed field goals and kicks.
Yep. you narrow it down a little further?
There's not a lot of historical events to cover.
It's fine. Segment's been running super long every day.
Do you know what I love about this time of year? The three F's. Fall, football, and fishing. And so why don't you take your fishing game to the next level with our friends at Prospect Boat Service. Family
Yes.
been operating for nearly 30 years. And the Sherman family is NMEA certified. That, my friend, is the National Marine Electronics Association. Meaning, at front to back, they are committed to improving the safety
So does he
and
write the copy?
technology of marine
Write the
electronics.
copy?
They do this
Or does
I don't know who. I don't know. It's different for every account, so I don't know who does that one.
pushing the technological limits while keeping you safe. And look, when you're talking
Okay.
about the fall and the winter, you're talking about the perfect time to do any yearly maintenance that you need done. Finally,
The
put it in the park.
majority of the times with my accounts,
Back boat service, they do it all. So,
it's they'll just send me talking points and say run with it. Yeah.
You make it your own.
And then I'll beg for the next like 6 months. Can I have some new talking points? I feel like I'm wearing this stale.
Just got easier.
I hear you.
Between back to school and with the holidays around the corner, it can feel like there's no time to tackle home projects. Whether you need help with emergency repairs or major upgrades, Angie matches you with top local pros who can get the job done right. Browse reviews, see upfront pricing, and instantly book hundreds of projects. Save time for what matters most. Book your next project at Angie.com. That's ANGI.com.
10, 11, and 12? Yes.
Okay. Actually, I think the horns are too much. Yeah, that's better. Big news. The new wireless outdoor security camera is here. Yes, Simply Safe's award-winning home security just got even better, taking whole home protection to a whole new level. Okay, I'm missing the horns. Simply Safe is celebrating this new camera by offering free shipping for a limited time. Visit simplysafe.com today.
Now, your WBRZ traffic update from Ashley Boucher.
We're starting off quiet on this Wednesday morning. No need to rush out the door, but a big heads up for travelers who typically navigate around Highland at Lee. This is a busy intersection in Baton Rouge, just south of LSU's campus. Major delays are expected with a road closure there. Brady's going to have more details in just a sec. Right now, though, it looks fine going from Juban to the 10-12 split. No problems coming in from Denham. If you prefer Florida, that route looks clear and no issues in Ascension Parish. Prairieville to Highland, only 5. Let's take you outside, check on the bridge where traffic looks great on both sides. Headlights going east without slowing down. And you know that's always good news for folks on the west side when this area is still operating.
See an accident? Reported at WBRZ traffic update.
Support is brought to you by Shawbills, where you can get free tire repairs on all household cars when you purchase new tires. It's all part of the Charlie's Dozen, and it's only at Shawbills.
.624 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. We got Legally Served coming your way in just a little while. Attorney Franz Borghardt in studio, getting ready to talk a little bit about the death penalty. One of those topics of the death penalty revolves around Matthew Meir, who District Attorney Ricky Babin down in the 23rd Judicial District says it's likely that they will seek the death penalty in his case. Speaking of one of Meir's victims from over the weekend, services are coming up this weekend for Master Trooper Adam Gaubert. Killed in the line of duty Saturday. His funeral will be held this Saturday morning at St. George Catholic Church. Trooper Kate Stiegel says visitation is going to be Friday evening at the Rest Haven Funeral Home and on Saturday morning before that 11 a.m. service.
There will be a procession on Saturday morning from Rest Haven Funeral Home to the St. George Catholic Church.
Gaubert was a 19-year veteran of the agency, was one of the 2 fatalities in a multi-parish shooting spree last Saturday. His body wasn't discovered in his vehicle until 15 hours after a shooting in Ascension. Stiegel says it's been a difficult time for everyone who knew him.
Whether you knew him or not, there's only been good things to say about him, and it's a very hard time for the agency.
I have heard, I want to say four different stories over the past couple days of people with individual personal accounts of Master Trooper Gaubert. And every single one of them painted the exact same picture of the exact same guy. Like, the consistency behind this dude was remarkable. All four of them were basically like interactions with a law enforcement officer, but kind, gentle, while not being soft. Like, in reassuring, welcoming, while not losing the authority of the badge. And it's not every day you walk away from, the everyday occurrences with law enforcement feeling like, hey, that was a really, really, enjoyed that experience. It's not something where they're not graded on customer service. No, those buttons don't work. Jake's got you.
So their job is to protect and serve.
Yes.
And the good ones protect and serve.
Protect and serve, yes. Yeah, not just punish, not just write tickets.
Right.
They truly protect and serve. He fell into that category for sure. So those attending services for Gaubert are asked to use a face mask and socially distance. Stiegel says the public can show their support for Trooper Gaubert and his family by lining the procession route from the funeral home to St. George Catholic Church.
He made the ultimate sacrifice, and we want to give him the best honor possible.
If you don't want to go out there, and a lot of people want to pay their respects, but don't feel comfortable if they're not close enough to somebody, they're going to stream the services on the state police's Facebook page. So that option is available as well. That's okay. So the funeral's going to be Saturday morning at 11 as well, just like LSU's football game. And I don't know if you've seen yet, and Marissa Nuzzo will have more in her forecast coming up in a little bit. But while today and tomorrow are expected to remain super hot, actually Friday's going to be hot as well, but Friday's going to bring with it some rain. And then Saturday morning, it looks like we're getting back into cooler temperatures. Saturday morning, it looks like things are going to turn the corner back to a more fall-like atmosphere out there. In fact, kickoff, 11 a.m. in Tiger Stadium, we're supposed to be at 67 degrees. I'll take it. Saturday's high is supposed to only get up to 73, and then we get all the way down to 52 that night. I'll take it, for sure. Let's see if we got time to do this. Yeah, we got 2 full minutes. All right. Want to talk about cats in just a little bit. Not actual felines. I mean the bus service. In just a minute. However, before that, Talk 1073 is giving you a chance to enjoy a true Louisiana staycation on us at either the Renaissance or Watermark Hotels. Simply take our staycation survey at talk1073.com and you will be instantly registered for one of 2 staycations each month. We draw 2 winners a month, one on this show, one on the Jada Cody Show. It's a staycation with the Watermark and Renaissance Hotels, and Talk 1073 is the new flavor of talk. Angela Girona won the September stay at the Watermark. That's a one-night stay with valet and dinner for 2 at the Gregory. As for the Renaissance, which is a one-night stay with breakfast for 2 and dinner for 2 at Tallulah, that went to Victoria Bankston. So congrats. All right. Baton Rouge Area Chamber, BRAC. Yesterday, was it yesterday or the day before? They released their public policy commentary analyzing the capital area transit system's performance against public's goals of its current millage cycle. If you want in on this, it's available at brac.org/research. The upcoming millage renewal represents nearly 60% of CATS's annual budget, says Trey Godfrey, Senior Vice President of Policy for BRAC. It's important that the business community make an informed decision on this critical service with as much information as possible. Saw this press release and I just got downright giddy. Giddy. Absolutely giddy. You're telling me we have the chance to get feedback on a public service to say whether or not it's actually living up to billing? Like before we vote to renew something, we could say, no, I haven't gotten my money's worth. I don't take the bus, so I'm not in the game. But if you do, here's your chance. Hop in and let them know. We'll dive back into that later on in the show. Right now we got to check news, then Legally Served with Franz Borghardt's next.
I love Mexicans. And Canadians. That's all I got.
I don't understand. You just love Mexicans?
You just missed the news.
I heard the news.
I love Mexicans and Canadians. They're
Just-
getting let back into the United States and vaccinated.
Yeah, I know. I heard the news. I'm just wondering what's the genesis of what is it about Mexicans that you love?
It is a beautiful country. Steeped in cultural diversity, heritage.
Hey, okay. A lot of it's just desert.
Some paradise.
We went.
A lot of desert. Like the nice resort places are fantastic.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of desert. Some federales. Yeah. I just wanted to say the word federales. Yeah.
Oh, I gotta go back and find that story that you had posted last week.
About coloring during a jury trial.
Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and assume Christy's watching this morning. Good morning, sweetheart. Good morning. Morning, T-Bone. About people that have had interactions with him is pretty incredible. So, yes, good morning, sweetheart. And no, it's a navy blue shirt, and it has been in the closet for a long time. My wife texted asking, what is this shirt you're wearing? I don't think I've ever seen it before. It's, yeah, it's been in the closet forever.
So you know who I'm wearing.
I just never wear it.
You know who I'm wearing this
You're
morning.
wearing Haspel.
Haspel, I think I need to get Haspel to sponsor Legally Served. Like, can a show within a show or a segment within a show have its own
All the time.
sponsoring? Oh yeah.
Yes, we can.
I need to talk to my boys over at Haspel. Their new fall line is coming. Oh my gosh. Oh goodness.
So, I'd be down with that for sure. I'd do that for straight trade.
Suits are good. That'd get expensive for them.
That would get.
It's about $600 a pop, $650, plus tailoring.
That's.
I got a good tailor though. I got a good tailor.
Yeah.
She does a really good job. Miss Helen. She is off of Florida, so it is a bit of a drive. Miss Helen Hillard. Shout out to Helen Hillard. It is a bit of a drive. It's
Florida where?
like in the past Sherwood area. You know, there's some fantastic restaurants on Florida that are under. Oh, dude, what's the name of that Vietnamese place?
Viet Garden.
Yeah, like it's one of the original Vietnamese places. In
Yeah,
Memphis.
it's right behind my house.
Yeah. Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah.
You ever hit
Gotcha.
that place up? You ever hit that place up hard?
Used to hit them up all the time. They haven't always been called the Viet Garden, though. They used to have a different name that the FCC won't let you repeat on air. Because they specialize in pho, and they claim to be the king of it.
It's a bold statement.
Well, when you read the sign...
What the pho?
The pho king.
You think they knew? You think they knew?
The thing is, I really don't think they knew. I think once they figured it out, they like, oh no, we're the Viet Garden.
Is this the cold front?
No, tomorrow.
Okay.
Cold front Friday night.
Okay.
It will spark up a few showers along the way, but noticeably cooler and drier air will be in the area by Saturday morning.
It's time for Legally Served with attorney Franz Borghardt.
Your Honor, I'd like to ask for recess. I'd like an answer to your question.
You insult the integrity of this court.
The defense is wrong.
I'm being charged with a crime. Legally Served with Franz Borghardt.
Don't tell me what I know and don't know. I know the law.
638, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Time for Legally Served with attorney Franz Borghardt. Franz, what's happening, man?
I feel like every Wednesday is a Christmas gift to me. I get to hang out with you guys. I get to talk about legal issues.
You do.
I get to reach out to the Talk 107.3 audience and just like give them a big bear hug.
I love it. I love it.
I'm doing good this morning.
So we have no shortage of topics to talk about this morning.
Wherever
And
you wanna jump
I
in,
don't
man.
know if we're going to get to all of them today. In
I
fact,
think death penalty is on a lot of people's minds.
it is.
Yeah.
It is. And Ricky Babin, the district attorney in the 23rd,
Right.
and he says there is a strong possibility, excuse me. In fact, go so far as to say, quote, that's a likelihood, Ricky
Yeah.
Babin said. I haven't read the report, but there's a strong likelihood that he will seek the death penalty for Matthew Meir. Now, let's talk about, first of all, what it takes to prosecute a death penalty case.
So when we talk death penalty and a case being a death penalty case, we're talking about aggravators and mitigators. Aggravators are certain factors that take the case to a murder case, a homicide, to a first-degree murder.
Yeah.
Okay, killing a police officer,
Yeah.
killing multiple people. If the stars align in that front, a grand jury can indict on first-degree murder, and the DA's office can seek the death penalty. They give notice to the defense that, hey, we intend to seek the death penalty. That triggers all sorts of different things, right? But aggravators and mitigators, the jury gets two phases in a first-degree murder case. They get the guilt phase, did
Yep.
this person do it, and the penalty phase. Should we put him to death or should we not? They consider the aggravating factors and the mitigating factors about this human being to determine whether or not they're going to put him to death or not. And by the way, the jury can choose life if it wants to based on any factor it wants.
So you can try a death penalty case, but the jury can bail for you.
Correct. Any case, you can try any crime because the accused stands presumed innocent until proven guilty.
Right.
And ultimately, you can try the death penalty case, but ultimately the jury decides guilty or not guilty, and then the jury, if you get guilty, the jury decides death or life in prison.
Okay. Is it harder to prosecute a death penalty case, and why?
Yes, because of the nature of the offense, because of what you are seeking, the stakes are heightened. All sorts of mechanisms kick in. You have to dot your I's, you have to cross your T's to the nth degree.
Now, let me pause
Still
right
a murder
there.
case. Still a murder
Exactly. But why is it different if the burden of proof should be the same?
case. So you're trying to put someone to death.
Right.
So the state of Louisiana has mandated certain certification standards for its attorneys. They're going to represent that. These cases tend to last longer, decades.
Totally.
Yeah.
Appeals.
And look, regardless of how you feel about the death penalty, if you're pro death penalty, you should want it done right. Right? And I understand people want this Texas serving of expedited justice, but to some degree, if you want to put someone to death, you should do it right to make sure everything's the way it's supposed to be. Because the last thing we want to do is to put someone to death that shouldn't be put to death.
Right.
Okay, and
I agree with
and
that.
that can be guilt. That can be there is a legal standard that you cannot put someone to death that has a certain low IQ threshold because they may not understand what's going on. That's established Supreme Court case law. So these cases are longer because of that. They're also longer because the defense gets the right to get a mitigation expert to get every scintilla of detail about the defendant to present to the jury, to humanize him.
Right.
To give the jury any reason to say, you know what, we're gonna lock him away in Angola for the rest of his life. He'll die in a pine box.
But I guess my question is, what's the difference between that and life in prison when it comes to the burden of proof, or when it comes to humanizing the
guilt
accused?
phase is still the guilt phase.
Right.
It's specific intent to kill. You got to get all the elements. You have to have a unanimous jury.
Right.
So that's the new law. It has to be unanimous. So guilt is still guilt. It's the other things that, because you have this heightened penalty, this different penalty, that is what elongates the case.
Right.
A second-degree murder case, which carries life in prison, takes a fraction of the time to prosecute, start to finish.
Wait, does it have to be death penalty to prosecute first-degree murder? Like if you're looking at a first-degree murder,
so they can
which
indict,
you're seeking life, then...
So what happens is you can indict on first-degree murder, and the DA's office can have something come up and say, you know what, we're not going to seek death penalty.
Yeah.
What might that be? It might be a change in heart of the victims. It might be a new piece of evidence that comes out that doesn't necessarily affect guilt, but may affect their belief of mitigating factors. Hey, we've got this IQ test that shows that this defendant isn't legally eligible to be put to death. The victim's family gets a say in all this. This is interesting because you have two victims' families.
Let's talk about that for a second.
Right.
Because you could have conflicting desires here.
It happens.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
You know, one family may say, and look, we've seen this recently where when you have a defendant that is related to the victims, sometimes the victims will say, we still love this person.
Right.
You know, we don't want you to put him or her down.
I want to say we talked about this in a previous segment,
Right.
like last week or the week before.
See what I just did?
Yeah, a little callback there.
You know, I can't talk about it because I'm working on the case, but I will tell you, Ronnie Cato.
Yeah.
It's going to the 19th JDC. It's a capital case. You have two different families. They want two different things. So
how do you choose which you defer towards?
So the DA's office gets to make the final decision. But on such a monumentally huge case with a huge consequence, generally they defer to the victims. They both have a right to be listened to. They both have a right to be respected with dignity. But ultimately, I mean, it's just a tough decision to be in.
So, but if one wants life and one wants death, I mean...
Well, somebody's going to be unhappy.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to be unhappy. Now, a lot of these cases, now look, in the 19th, there isn't a lot of death penalty cases that go to verdict.
No, but that's a lot more about, well...
Also, remember, death penalty, indicting someone at first degree death penalty, that gives you a huge amount of leverage over a human being.
What do you mean?
Leverage. Hey, you can proceed to trial and you can possibly be put to death, or eventually we might be able to negotiate a second-degree murder or first-degree life. That's leverage.
Okay, so you're saying
why would you plead guilty?
If you lead with the death penalty and say you have the option to plead guilty to life right now,
it takes a long time.
And it pulls everything off the table.
Yeah, it takes a long time to get there sometimes.
Sure.
On both sides.
But it's a heavy bargaining chip.
Right. Because if your only bargaining chip is, hey, if you plead guilty, I'm going to try to put you to death.
Then why would you plead guilty?
Right. If your bargaining chip is, you can go to trial if you want to. You have a constitutional right to go to trial. But if you go to trial and I win, and the jury says death, ain't no coming, quote Tupac, death, ain't no coming back from that. Exactly. However, sometimes that bargaining chips are bargaining chips for a reason. Right?
Absolutely they are. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll check traffic. We'll check your money now. When we come back on the other side, I want to flip the script and talk about defending a death penalty case.
Sure.
He's attorney Franz Borghardt. We will continue next on Talk 107.3.
Meet our team of attorneys at Murphy Law Firm before you hire an attorney for your individual. Visit murphylawfirm.com and your decision will be easy. Learn why we should be your attorney.
Shout out to Byron. That's the funniest. That's just funny.
Welcome back. We missed you. We know it's been tough. Because rebuilding your business isn't for the faint of
Cyber hygiene, that's a term now?
Yeah, clean it up. Got to keep it clean. The last thing you want is a cyber venereal disease.
I know.
I don't even know what that looks like. I don't want to know what that looks like. Boom. I just hit $7,500 for the Real Men Wear Pink campaign.
Yeah, I saw the bracelet. I was gonna give you crap about not wearing any pink today. That's purple.
No, these are pink.
That is purple, sir.
Dude, this is pink.
Dude, I am sorry. That's
pink.
It's magenta at best.
That's pink. Well, I'm wearing pink here, too.
You've got the bracelet. The bracelet qualifies.
Get in, though.
Yeah.
That's a really light purple.
Oh, you two.
I'm sorry.
You two.
Just taking Brian's side just because that's
Mother of goodness. So first game is Wednesday? Friday? First game? Who are we playing?
Mercy. We're purple, so I think we're playing like red or orange
So
or
does
something.
kindergarten play other kindergarten?
Yeah.
We must break them. Actually, I'd be excited if one kid puts the basket in the.
So 4 or 5 will, but they don't keep score.
Good. It's probably for the best. I've seen our team. It's probably for the best. Although we will be using regulation heights, right?
6 foot.
That's what I'm talking about.
Let's take it outside. I can show you those bridge camera shots where we did see that the westbound side on the traffic map turned yellow.
See an accident? Report it at WBRZ Traffic on Twitter.
This report is brought to you by Shawbills, where you can get free tire repairs on all household cars when you purchase new tires. It's all part of the Charlie's Dozen, and it's only at Shawbills.
I'm Jennifer Bishika with Your Money Now. A widely anticipated surge in employees returning to the office after Labor Day never materialized, but as COVID infection rates fall again, workers are tripling back at the height
Magenta.
since the pandemic began. Around Labor Day,
Franz.
31% of the workforce was back in the 10 major cities monitored by Council.
Magenta.
The average hit 35% during the week that ended
Blue's best friend from Blue's Clues.
October 8th, a new high during the pandemic. BlackRock, Whirlpool, and Lionsgate Entertainment among the companies that have set return dates for October and early November.
I can't say I want to go to space.
CEO Brian Haldane has died at age 50.
Do what? No need.
it's like the experience to be out of this world though.
Indefinite leave of absence from his role as CEO. Goldner became the company's CEO in 2008. Hasbro notes that he expanded the company beyond toys and games into television, movies, and digital gaming and beyond. That's Your Money Now.
With confusion around vaccinations, masks, and public screenings, it's important to know the symptoms of COVID and its variants. Fever is the leading sign, so make sure you use an accurate thermometer for your family. Only the Exergen Temporal Scanner Thermometer has been proven accurate. With more than 100 clinical studies, non-contact thermometers have no clinical evidence behind them and cannot be relied on. Be vigilant and be accurate with Exergen. Learn more at exergen.com.
Did you get all the stimulus money for you and your family? Do you have children and didn't know you could receive monthly child tax credit payments? You can claim your monthly child tax credit payments and missing stimulus payments even if you don't file a traditional tax return. Visit ssa.gov/EIP to learn how you can apply online. Get the money your family deserves.
How long ago did Ronnie Cato's crimes occur? Or the crimes involving Ronnie, whatever.
I'm going to say over a year ago.
Yeah.
But to be fair, we're in pandemic, and that caused huge delays.
Oh, I wasn't even thinking there was a
Yeah.
delay.
I mean, they just take a long time.
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily a bad thing.
.652 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Attorney Franz Borghardt is in studio for Legally Serve. We do this every single Wednesday. So, Franz, let's talk about defending a death penalty case. We talked about prosecuting one. Let's talk about defending one. What goes into a defense of this? How easy is it to break something like this
So
apart?
there are rules. So unlike every other crime where I can defend anyone accused of a crime, any crime, there are rules. If I am being compensated with state money, I have to be certified either to be a second chair or a first chair. And that certification process, I have to demonstrate a level of competency and experience in dealing with homicide cases and dealing with capital cases. So first and foremost, if I'm getting state money, and let's just be candid, as you might imagine, these cases are incredibly time-consuming and expensive.
Okay.
So there's not a lot of private attorneys doing private death penalty work. It happens.
Yeah.
It just there's not a lot of them. If I'm a private attorney doing death penalty work, there's no need for certification, and I can charge literally whatever I want.
Okay.
If they can pay it. The cases require generally experts in the form of mitigation experts. You need to know everything there is to know about the defendant, the accused. You need to know medical history, mental health history. You need to know education history. Anything. If you're defending, you're trying to find anything that you can look at a jury and say, this person's a human being, and this is why they deserve to live and not die.
Right.
And it may not even be a quote-unquote legal issue. It may be your defendant was in the Navy, and one of the jurors was in the armed services, and you know what? That juror says, you know what? This guy's a horrible person, and maybe a quote-unquote monster,
But served his country.
but he served his country,
Yeah.
and I don't feel right about putting him down. Okay? Or putting him
So
down.
the
I say
goalpost-
putting him down.
Yeah, same. Oh, I get it. But the goalposts move dramatically. Your win-loss record there is not based
Mm-hmm. It's
off
not
of guilt
about
or
guilt.
innocence.
It's not about guilt, even though that's counterintuitive right now.
No, it's not.
If there are genuine issues as to guilt, you're of course going to present those. The issue is generally because these are the cases you want all the stars to align as a prosecutor. You don't want to seek the death penalty on a shaky case, right?
Right.
That doesn't make sense. Generally, guilt is not as much of an issue. Generally, it's all about penalty phase and mitigation.
Right.
From
Now-
a defense perspective.
A case like this that garners so many headlines, and there's so much footage out there, so many personal accounts out there. It stacks the deck, though, doesn't it?
Well, it's certainly, I was talking at the break, or one of the breaks, we're going to see this funeral or this whatever, the procession or whatever, we're going to see it on social media. It's going to be streamed live.
Yeah.
That is interesting because that is going to be people that didn't know anything. And I'm praying for the troopers' family. I'm praying for the Czech Snyders.
Yeah.
Which is you mentioned advocates doing a great job giving the story behind them as well, because we mostly focus and see the trooper, right?
Yes.
That's the big news. You shot a trooper. You shot law enforcement. Well, there's another victim in this case.
Yeah.
And so we're going to see all this. It's going to be streamed. Whoever represents this guy, Mir, is going to have to challenge well, let me rephrase, is going to have to address this with a potential jury about what they know about the case, what they've read about the case. This is a high-profile case.
It is a high-profile
It will
case.
continue to be a high-profile
So,
case.
where that leads up to is, could this guy, the way this is already spelled out right now, is this a case where you'd have to ask for it to be moved somewhere else?
It's premature. It's
Okay.
premature. You've got to be able to establish that he can't get a fair trial in the venue he's in, and he's got the venue in Ascension. He's got a venue in Baton Rouge. So you've got to. It's not as easy as a couple of articles or a couple of media coverage. And look, as a defense attorney that has done high-profile cases before, I will tell you, there is often a feeling of, man, I can't get a fair shake for my guy because it's like in the news every single day.
Well, as of right now, and yeah, it is the same week of, so
Right.
that's that. But you read that advocate story, and I can see where folks their want would go towards vengeance, not justice.
Death penalty brings out an interesting dynamic in a lot of human beings. I'm a God-fearing Catholic, so my religion kind of dictates for me what a suggestive view on the death penalty is. But there's a lot of good-hearted Christian human beings that are all about the death penalty. They kind of gloss over the New Testament. They're all about the Old Testament.
Yeah, no, it's in my take on it. It varies from a pragmatism standpoint. It's more pragmatic to get somebody out of the equation for the entirety of their life, rather than seeking to have them killed.
And candidly for me, and I know we're short on time, but candidly for me, I think it's a bigger punishment for someone
There's
to
that
have
too.
to rot
There's that. Yeah.
in Angola for the rest of their life.
Right.
And I've put people in Angola.
No, and you can say, but the state's got to pay for them for the rest of their life.
Oh,
State's
it's,
gotta,
it's cheaper.
it is cheaper because you don't have to pay for
So,
all the court costs down the road for
so
appeals.
Whether you agree with it or not, the cost of defending these guys and gals is a lot.
Yeah.
If you see the numbers, it's a staggering amount of money. Now, what the DA's office and law enforcement folks would say is you're spending way too much money on this. Well, how much is too much money to make sure that someone gets a fair shake before you put them to death?
Yeah. We've got less than a minute left. You're going to stick around through news, I hope, for a minute or two. But before we get off the air, though, Real Men Wear Pink, how's it going?
Dude, I was at Stephen Hightower's new spot, Proverbial Wine Bistro, for a give back night last night. You're familiar with give back nights.
Yeah.
They're giving a percentage. It went fantastic. I just hit my $7,500 goal, which means time to bump the goal up, right?
Absolutely.
So I'm thinking I'm going to bump it up to 10,000.
Okay.
All month in October, if you want to give and support my efforts, go to the Go Rouge Facebook page, scroll down a little bit. You'll see some pink mugs. Click the link. You can donate. Every $50 you donate, you get a chance to win the mug.
I need to borrow your services tomorrow night for a different venture, but we'll talk about that at a later date. He is attorney Franz Borghardt. Thank you so much for popping in.
Thank you, guys.
Absolutely. Here comes the CBS World News Roundup on Talk 107.3 FM. If you're on YouTube, the conversation continues. All right. Tomorrow night's we're going to be at L'Auberge, CAC at L'Auberge, Child Advocacy Center.
Celebrity waiter. Were you ever in the service industry?
No. Well, not as a waiter.
This is going to come as a shock to you. I was never a waiter.
What?
Never a server.
So
I serve for a living, baby.
You're not carrying a tray, okay?
What do I carry?
I like drinks.
That's
good. Go grab a drink.
Carrying drinks. That's great, Brian. Thank you. Thank you for keeping me sober, Brian.
Yeah, absolutely. So I need you to pinch it.
That was a joke. If you're listening, Brian and I can joke about that kind of stuff.
Yes.
All good. I can carry drinks.
So
good cause.
It is a very good cause, which is why I hopped in on this one. But I've got to coach basketball in Port Allen. So I need you to pinch hit for the first hour.
Okay.
Right.
I'm working on it. I'm willing to look. Being Brian Haldane for 1 hour is like being Atlas. Got to carry. I mean, I feel like I have to wait on my. What other celebrity waiters do we have out there? Do we know from this place?
Oh, Michelle Southern.
Oh, she's a giver.
Yeah, I'm gonna get my ass handed to me.
It's okay. It's about every single dollar in these fundraising events, even though it's a competition.
No,
every single dollar.
How much do you pool at the end? The mayor is in this.
She strikes me as a server. She serves people for a living.
You think?
Yeah. I'm a big fan of the mayor. I know that doesn't rub people the right way sometimes.
Yeah, it's all right. I'm trying to pull up my my link so I can post the link back on this and see if we can't get a couple donations throughout the show today, because the tip jar is open. Save your just the tip jokes, please. I'm scrolling back through it right now. So you're busy Friday in court as well.
So Friday during the day, we will not be able to do the Go Rouge show because I have a federal thingy. And then Friday night, Kindergarten Blue Jays play the Kindergarten Blue Jays.
Yes.
Clash of the Titans, guys. Mercy, Kindergarten, basketball.
Oh, Team Purple will be after it.
Are we Team Purple?
We're purple.
So I need to wear purple that day.
Yeah.
So
like the
we got little
channel.
James. We got little James. Haldane. Little Fisher Borghardt. Little dynamic duo.
So
it makes me feel good to watch kindergartners play basketball because it has nothing to do with the sport. It's just raw joy. They dribble a little bit. They get excited. You're doing yeoman's work, dude. Coach Haldane is doing yeoman's work. Herding cats, baby.
That's exactly what I'm doing, is herding cats. So can I copy this?
What?
My tip jar. There we go. Copy link.
Just the tip. Right. Just the tip. So in a way, they're tipping you by tipping me for that.
Right.
Hour.
That's exactly right.
What's the dress for this?
You know what? I'll find out. But
I like to go a little extra. Maybe I'll wear a Haspel suit.
Maybe
a Martinez suit. Maybe a Brown and Brown. I like to change it up.
Whichever you're most comfortable in.
Less is more.
Wear tennis shoes.
Hokas, Varsity Sports.
Uh,
I'm just like boom, boom, boom,
I'm
boom,
telling
boom,
you.
boom, boom. I got some new Hokas from Varsity.
Again?
I wore out the red. Well, the red ones never got worn for the first year I had them.
Oh.
But I went in. I asked them to look at them, and they said it's time. And they basically redid my foot. They digitally scanned my foot.
Yeah.
You definitely, if you're into running, walking, you definitely need to check out. Varsity Sports. And Brian, let me say this.
What?
I think we're getting on the time to start talking about a new Fat Boy competition. I mean, if I
So
ever
I
get my
can't
belt,
run.
If I ever get my belt,
That's.
can I have my belt before we do the next
Yes,
competition?
yes, you can. That's on me. I dinged my car up and I had to
Told
pay
me.
up. Yeah.
No.
So running looks like it's going to be out.
Okay.
And between the back and knee problems, I don't know that I can
But we can still lose weight. I mean, you're at a decisive
lose any.
disadvantage.
Yeah, I can't really lose
You
a
can
whole
do
lot more.
elliptical. You can
Well,
do.
yeah, but like I can't lose a whole lot more weight. I mean, I'm 8 pounds away from where I graduated high school.
Weak. Not with that attitude, you can't lose more weight.
Well, it's not. We get to a
I
point
want
that's
you
just
like
not,
a wrestler. I want you like a wrestler. I want you to lose.
we're gonna get to a point that's just unhealthy.
Right. That's my problem too. Is I've got 15 pounds to my goal, and it's like I don't know where I'm going to lose 15 more pounds.
Cars hitting the road now, and we're seeing some slowdowns coming in from Denham Springs,
I mean,
especially between O'Neill and Sherwood. Here's a lot
I could do like get the percentage of body fat under 10.
down a bit. About 20 minutes range to the 10-12 split. Going on now. Highland at Lee is closed.
All right, guys, we're good.
Yeah.
You want me to stick around for a minute?
Well, no.
And into tomorrow. So instead of traveling on Highland at Lee, you can hop over
But if you're
What time? What time?
6:30 to 7. Same
Can you move that around? Let me come in later.
now until Thursday night.
Yeah.
For drinks.
If I can come in after I drop Fisher off.
8:15. Well, I don't want to get in the way of
The federal thing's not until 10. I got to pick your client up and bring him to the federal courthouse. So.
Let me make sure 8:15 is good. Let's do 8:15. Later, Franz. Thank you, bub. Hey, what's happening? Come on in, just grab a seat. We're good. I have BRPT. Okay.
Overnight temperatures will drop down to near 70 degrees. These same warm and humid conditions will continue through Thursday and parts of Friday. On Friday evening, a cold front will move through the area.
All right.
It will spark up a few showers along the way, but noticeably cooler and drier air will be in the area by Saturday morning.
Do what? There's a fountain runner, but I'll go grab you a bottle during the break. .706 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Hour 2 coming your way right now. Thanks again to Attorney Franz Borghardt for stopping in for Legally Served, as he does every single Wednesday. We didn't even get to the topics we were planning on talking about when we headed into the weekend. Nicholas Cruz, the confessed Parkland shooter, is back in court for his alleged involvement in a jailhouse brawl, and he was coloring. Yeah. Says it eases stress. Whipped out the old coloring book. If you were on a jury, how would that sit with you? That was what we would plan on talking about heading into the weekend. And, of course, the weekend played out the way it did, and obviously other things became more pressing. So maybe we'll have a bonus Legally Served before the week is over with. This hour, we are going to talk with Luke Mixon. He is running for Senate. We are going to talk with Ronnie Johns, who heads up the Gaming Control Board. I could have made money on the Dodgers last night, just saying. Where are we at with sports betting right now? We have a sports book open. Don't really care. Where's my phone? That's what I need. Anyway, we're going to talk with Ronnie Johns a little bit later on in this hour. Right now, though, we start the hour off with top stories and trending. Movie BR Project plans to expand Bluebonnet Boulevard and add sidewalks. They're hoping to curb a little traffic, if you'll pardon the pun, with a $1 billion investment into infrastructure. Of that $1 billion, well, a chunk of it's going to be used to help out on Bluebonnet. Yesterday, a virtual public meeting was held to discuss 3 of the 70 projects in the making over the next 30 years, one of which includes widening Bluebonnet from 4 to 6 lanes between Picardy Avenue and Perkins Road. The city is looking to add lanes and sidewalks with previous concrete to both sides of the road. The project on Bluebonnet is estimated to cost up to $19 million. Months after East Baton Rouge officials butted heads with Iberville Parish President Mitch Orso over the ripple effects of the flood prevention measures being taken by Iberville, the two parishes are partnering for a joint flood prevention project in one of the area's most major problem spots. Mayor President Sharon Weston Broom announced yesterday the city parish is proposing a partnership alongside Iberville to improve drainage along Bayou Manchac, which borders both parishes. She's calling it a cooperative endeavor agreement to clear and snag Bayou Manchac from Highway 30 to the Alligator Bayou Flood Control Gate. This coincides with a similar agreement they've got in place with Ascension Parish as well. A state trooper who sued Louisiana State Police after he was suspended in the wake of a tell-all interview with our news partners at WBRZ has now been fired from the agency. Carl Cavalier confirmed to WBRZ he was sent a letter of termination on Monday. He first spoke with WBRZ back in June, where he shed light on the behind-the-scenes process of the investigation into Ronald Green's death while in police custody. Cavalier described what he believed to be cover-ups within the agency that kept his colleagues from facing charges after Green's death. He was suspended after the interview, filed a lawsuit last month, and then apparently terminated as of Monday. All right, numbers 2 and 1 are going to be all about shootings, so let's squeeze 2 of them into this one, and then 1 into number 1. A man was shot and killed during what police called a domestic incident late Monday night. BRPD said 33-year-old Latrell Braxton was shot around 11 p.m. during a confrontation on Pembroke Avenue, a neighborhood along Airline Highway. No arrests have been made at this time in that one. On to another man who was found shot to death overnight in an open field, a neighborhood off Florida Street. They found him late Monday night. 32-year-old Kelvin Vicks was found shot to death around 11:30 on Convention Street near North 12th, according to BRPD. No suspects or motives in that one either. Another double shooting, this time 2 people injured, not dead. This one in the Scotlandville area. Officials say both were shot in the 900 block of Rosenwald Road, rushed to an area hospital for treatment. The extent of their injuries and circumstances that led to the shooting were unknown at the time that the news story was reported. That's a look at your top stories. Here's a look at what's trending this morning. We've got 2 of them. And with apologies to Jay, Ducote, and Chuck P., I'm stealing the Space News Now segment because our first story, William Shatner's about to go to space. James T. Kirk himself about to take off, I believe, within the next hour or so. Anyway, 90-year-old William Shatner and 3 other passengers will be launching from West Texas. Jeff Bezos' space travel company Blue Origin invited Shatner on the brief jaunt to the fringes of the final frontier, which will make him the oldest person in space. Well, that's presumptive. Space is huge. Flight's going to last about 10 minutes, maybe 10 minutes with fully automated capsule, reaching an altitude of about 66 miles before parachuting back down into the desert. So Captain Kirk actually going to space today. Also from space, though, astrophysicists are stumped by an odd energy signal recently detected in the heart of the Milky Way galaxy. This is according to CNN. The radio signal picked up by a telescope in Australia is unlike any phenomenon scientists have seen before and could suggest a previously unknown stellar object, according to a new study. When it was initially discovered, researchers said it appeared 13 times between April of 2019 and August of 2020, never lasting in the sky for more than a few weeks. The object's brightness appeared to experience extreme shifts, and signals seemed to go on and off at random. At first, they assumed the signal was coming from a pulsar, which is a very dense, rapidly spinning neutron star, a type of star that emits solar flares. But upon further investigation, the signals don't match what astronomers expect from any known celestial body. So they're stumped. And that's your top stories in trending. We're going to take a break here in just a second. Actually, before we take that break, got to tell you about the folks over at Baton Rouge Physical Therapy. They've been doing it for 60 years. They kind of know what they're doing, y'all. You've been doing something for 60 years. you develop a little bit of experience. You got 6 locations, you develop a little bit of convenience. That's what you get with Baton Rouge Physical Therapy. You can give them a call at 917-9185. But, Brian, I haven't been in a major accident. I don't have any major injury. Not to worry. What we're looking at here is not about the major injury to recover from. It's about those everyday nagging pains that keep us from being our physical best. Maybe you lift a little bit too much with your back and you have a lower back problem. Maybe you're carrying around a little bit too much weight and it's affecting your back. Maybe you're hunched over a computer all day and it's affecting your neck. Whatever the case might be, 917-9185 is the phone number. Get a complimentary screening at any of the 6 locations of Baton Rouge Physical Therapy. Like I said, they've been around for 60 years. Over that time, you develop how to find the best way to get to the source of the problem and the most comfortable way to treat the problem within your comfort level. brptlake.com is the website. Get back to being your best you. Be better than your best. Think physical therapy at brptlake.com.
How do you choose the right attorney? I give you the answers at murphylawfirm.com.
All right.
Allow insurance companies to take advantage of you. Make the right decision. Don't leave money on the table. Visit murphylawfirm.com.
It's possible.
Come on in, man. Thanks. Hey, what's up? I'm Luke. Jake Martin. Hey, pleasure to meet you.
So I appreciate you coming in.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Have a seat.
Yeah.
That one's your mic.
The mic will be live on YouTube as of right now when we get live.
Yeah, we're always hot on YouTube. The camera's right over there.
I did record one. Second ask. First time on radio, man. Any pointers?
Nah, we're just having a little conversation. That's all.
Talk.
Yep.
Talk right into the mic.
Yep. Yeah, just swing that on around. You don't have it on. Yeah, there you go. All good? Yeah, all good. Oh. So you said we met at a fundraiser.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it
It was years ago.
okay.
My son he's in 2nd grade at Mercy.
Okay.
I think your kids go to Mercy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was very brief because full disclosure, I am a Matt Moscona addict.
Okay.
So I listened to the show. So I was
Okay.
who you
There's
were.
treatment for that.
And someone said, "Hey, that's Brian. Is it Haldane or Haldane? I'm sorry,
Haldane.
Haldane." And I was like, "Oh, dude." And so it was real quick. Like, "Hey, Brian, I'm Luke." And then, of course, I was like the biggest moment of my night. Dude, I was. There was a time frame. It was I don't listen as much anymore of it, obviously, but it was. I guess right when I moved here, 16, 17 years, I was just listening. I drove back and forth to New Orleans a lot.
Okay.
So I was listening for like an hour and a half a day. And
I mean,
It's
that's
funny.
more than me, and I was producing the show.
it's funny because now I don't listen as much. It's gotten a little better.
Well, it's
I like these. I like T-Bob and
yeah,
those
they're
guys
fun.
are great.
They're a lot of fun.
Yeah.
2nd grader, huh?
He's actually. I don't know if you're familiar with the Reach program there. It's
Yeah.
It's a kid for. It's an area for kids with special needs.
Yeah.
So it's not technically in the 2nd grade, but he's 8 years old and he's in the special needs program.
Okay, cool.
How old are your kids?
9th, 4th, and kindergarten.
Okay, cool.
716 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Time to shift our focus to I want to say upcoming, but it's still a ways off. Louisiana's next Senate race. Luke Mixon has thrown his hat in the ring, and he joins me right now. Luke, welcome. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
No, glad to have you on here. Glad to be talking about this. Things are it's gonna take a while to stack up. The field is gonna get very, very busy, very, very not very fast, but before we get around to the next Senate race. Let's start with the introductions. Tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, what's on the resume for Luke Mixon.
Yeah, sure. I grew up down the road here in Wallace Parish, just outside of Bunkie, Louisiana.
Okay.
Like a lot of kids there, I grew up in a farming family. My dad was farmed corn, cotton, soybeans, sugarcane, and went to public high school, graduate of Bunkie High School, the Panthers. And, it was during my time in high school that I really started developing a relationship with my grandfather,
Okay.
who was he was a World War II vet. He was a B-24 flight engineer and flew 18 missions over Europe.
Wow.
Throughout the spring of 1944. Unfortunately, on his 19th mission, he had what us pilots hate is 1 takeoff, 0 landings.
Oh.
He was shot down by a German 109 attacking a target in Austria. And,
No, it's a great story. He donned his parachute, opened the bomb bay doors, and jumped from 22,000 feet. But
wow.
Yeah, he'd ultimately spend the next year and about 13, 14 months as a prisoner of war in the Stalag 17B prison camp in Germany. And he came home in the summer of 1945, and he's exactly that guy you're picturing him to be. Came home, raised a family, small business owner. He was a farmer, and just a man of tremendous integrity, character, and patriotism. And he would later find out that there were 10 crew members that day, and only 2 survived. The other 8 perished.
Wow.
So his life, the way he conducted himself, really inspired me. And so, as a kid, I had 3 goals. I said I'm going to go to the Naval Academy, I'm going to become a fighter pilot, and I'm going to go to Top Gun. And that's what I set out doing for the next 20 years. So I went to the Naval Academy in May of 2001. I accomplished first those goals. I graduated, which is obviously 3.5 months prior to 9/11, and that event certainly shaped the trajectory of my career. I would go on to be a fighter pilot. Flew F-18s for the next 17 years and change, and I would I did 4 deployments. Afghanistan twice, Iraq once, and then the Western Pacific, South China Sea type stuff once as well. Accumulated over 3,000 hours, and along the way, I finally accomplished the last of those goals. In 2008, I was selected for and graduated from Top Gun, which was a great honor. In 2012, thanks to some work we did in Afghanistan, I was named the F-18 Attack Aviator of the Year. And then finally, I ended my career in the reserves right here in New Orleans. I was the commanding officer of VFA 204, which is the Navy's F-18 Reserve Fighter Squadron. So that's how I finished. Let's see, my family, I'm married to my beautiful wife, Renee, and we have 2 great kids, Samantha and Charlie.
Excellent. And you're still flying today, just not in the military.
Yeah, I'm a commercial airline pilot now. That's right.
So, of all the careers out there that end up diving into politics, I don't think I've ever interviewed a pilot about moving over to run for anything. So, how does this convergence happen? What got you into the political end of wanting to serve?
Well, I'd say the same thing that got me to want me to serve in the military. And it is. It's exactly that. The desire to serve. I'm frustrated, Brian. I'm frustrated with what I see in Washington. As a couple of examples, we have 2 hurricanes that devastate the coast of Louisiana. Instead of providing people the resources they need, we see a lot of just bickering. Our roads are crumbling. People are struggling to make ends meet, but issues aren't solved. We just see people on TV and them arguing with one another. So I think right now, more than anything else, we just need people with character and integrity. We need people who care for the truth. And I'd say, most of all, we need patriots. A buddy of mine likes to say, he says, patriotism is measured by how you've used your time, talents, and treasure to improve this great nation. And that's something I've done. It's something my family and I have done for the last 24 years, but I do think more is needed. I have my 20th reunion for the Naval Academy coming up, and they beat the mission of the United States Naval Academy. They beat it into our brains, and I won't recite the whole thing for you here, but it basically says their mission is to develop midshipmen morally, mentally, and physically, and imbue them with duty, honor, and loyalty.
Okay.
So they have the character and integrity to assume the highest leadership positions in command, citizenship, and government. And look, that's exactly what we need right now. We need that duty, honor, and loyalty. People that care more about their country than their party.
No, it'd be a nice thing overall, for sure. But let's talk about party. What your alignment is, what your beliefs are, kind of a little, rundown, not fully a litmus test, but where you're at on a number of different, what issues are most important to you?
Yeah, right now, the issues that are most important to me are what's important to Louisiana. And I just start with infrastructure. Again, we saw the devastation that these hurricanes bring. With Hurricane Ida, we actually saw infrastructure worked, right? The investments made after Katrina saved New Orleans. But so much more is needed, and I think it's time that we stop building other countries and start building ours. We spent $6.4 trillion trying to build Iraq and Afghanistan, and I didn't hear anything about wasteful spending or stupid stuff during that time. We tried to spend $1 trillion to build America, to help Louisiana, to improve our roads, our bridges, our ports, to improve our waterways, our drainage, to expand internet access, expand our interstate system. And people call it wasteful spending. They call it stupid stuff. I don't think it is. In fact, it's not. It's life-saving storm prevention or storm risk mitigation. It's going to expand internet access. Oh, by the way, it's going to create jobs, provide an economic boost to Louisiana. That's really important to me right now. I think we need to get that done.
With the stupid spending part, I don't think comes in the roads, bridges, or broadband. It's all the stuff that's being called human infrastructure that gets kind of lost in the wash there. But aside from infrastructure, what else is on tap for you? What else is important for you?
Well, what's important for me too is, I think we need more veterans in in government.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen for the last 20 years trying to build Iraq and Afghanistan. And the whole time we were there, our politicians would the military is capable of doing almost anything.
Mm-hmm.
What we cannot do is shape policy,
Mm-hmm.
right? We execute policy. And we continue to see our politicians change our missions from peacekeeping to nation building to counterinsurgency to counterterrorism, and we can't win, but we keep throwing money at the problem. And, I was a little disappointed recently with our withdrawal from Afghanistan. So we withdraw from Afghanistan, and immediately we see politicians, and Senator Kennedy included, run to the TV and say how awful the withdrawal is, how terrible things are going, right? And that's fair. That's fair criticism. But I asked him, where have you been?
Right.
Where have you been? Because 13 Marines died that day, and that was awful.
Yeah.
But where have you been for the previous 20 years? I'm here to tell you that dozens of soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines have been dying on the fields of Afghanistan and Iraq for the last 20 years, and it's awful, but our politicians have mostly ignored those deaths. And it's sad to me that they only find the TV camera when the political opportunity presents itself. And I think we need people who, like myself, who realize the incredible sacrifices these people are making, and also realize the incredible amount of money that is being spent on a mission that will probably never be accomplished.
So that's a tough one because, I don't know that you can crack that nut. Nobody in history has been able to so far. What makes us different? And, bailing after 20 years, it depends on how you look at it. Did we fail because they haven't changed, or did we succeed because we staved off attacks for 20 years at the same time? It depends on your particular lens. But clearly a big one with you, but one issue across a broad spectrum of things that the Senate will have to cover. So I don't want to run out of time. I've got a few more things to get to beyond this, but give me 2 or 3 other things that really hit your radar.
Yeah, another one is healthcare.
Mm-hmm.
We see we're in the obviously we're still in the COVID pandemic here, but we've seen how the governor's expansion of Medicaid has been so helpful for the people of Louisiana. We've had over 500,000 people benefit from the expansion of Medicaid. We have hundreds of thousands of people that are benefiting from protecting pre-existing conditions, which is a topic near and dear to my heart, and I think it's important. That's something that Senator Kennedy voted against. I think it's important that we protect health care while also trying to lower the cost of health care at the same time. So that's certainly one that's near and dear to my heart as well.
So you're running for Senate against Senator John Kennedy, incumbent Senator John Kennedy. Is this your first crack at politics? Have you run for anything before?
No, I am 100%, and I'll say this very clearly, I am not a career politician. And some people have asked me, Luke, never doing this before, how's that going to work? And I'll answer that question for you. People often ask me, and I guess the answer is, what do you think the role of politicians is? If you think the role of politicians is to serve themselves and their party, that is not me. If you think the role of politicians is to serve people, I am your guy. I'll give you an example. People ask me all the time, Luke, I have 30,000 hours as an F-18 pilot. I went to Top Gun. I was named the F-18 Attack Aviator of the Year. And people ask me, what is it, Luke? Are you super talented? Are you smart? Are you competent? Are you quick? Are you talented? Nope. Those are not the things that matter. The things that matter are taking care of people. It was the thing that was drilled into my brain the first day at the Naval Academy until the last day as commanding officer of VFA 204. Take care of your people.
Mm-hmm.
Because every F-18 you see shot off the front end and it makes a great video, or every F-18 you see landing on an aircraft carrier, hours and hours and hours of work are done by mechanics and technicians and ordnancemen and the guys driving the ship, and it takes an entire team. And that team does not function if you don't take care of them, if you're not looking out for their health care, their families, their safety. If those things are not met, you will fail. And so I would say, no, I've never run for office, but if you're looking for someone who has experience taking care of people and succeeding and accomplishing the mission, I'm exactly your guy.
Is Senate a big nut to crack for your first go?
No.
Okay.
No, I believe, and I hope this doesn't come across the wrong way, because I am not an arrogant person, but I believe people like myself are exactly what we need right now. We need people who have not spent their life in politics, who have not lost their way, who have not seen politics as some ladder to climb for their own personal achievement, who see it as a service and not a job. And I'm coming fresh off of that, a job. Look, I didn't join the military to make a bunch of money, Brian.
Right.
My family's moved all over this country, and we didn't get rich doing it. But we felt it was important to serve, and I wish. That's not true at all. There's certainly a path like, hey, I've done my part. Let me go home. Let me watch the Saints, and and that's just not who I am. It's not my DNA. It's not my DNA to just stop, and I want to continue serving. So. No, I think I'm exactly the right person to stop.
Let's talk campaigning. We got 2 minutes left. Let's talk campaigning just a little bit. State's a lot of ground to cover. Growing a name out of nowhere, and this is why I asked about running for Senate first. Growing a name out of nowhere is not the easiest thing to do. What's the schedule been like? What's the schedule gonna look like?
I am we're going to work hard. And I'll say this: I do not have the benefit of campaigning on the government dime. I will continue to work. I mentioned I'm an airline pilot, and I will continue to do that job because I have a family to provide for, just like everyone else here in Louisiana. So when I am not working, you will see me traveling the state, but I will be working as well. So it's going to be a challenge, but I know it's one that myself and my team and my family are ready for, and we're really looking forward to the opportunity.
As the campaign wears on, the door's going to be open over here all the time. We'll talk issues throughout as more and more things come up, as more and more things reach the headlines coming out of the Senate. But in the meanwhile, good luck to you, Luke Mixon. Thanks for getting in the game. I always appreciate those that want to step up and run for office, because it is something that until you get the job, it's thankless until you get it. So Luke, appreciate you coming on board today.
Thanks, Brian. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. We've got CBS News coming your way in 30 seconds. After that, we'll check our own local news, traffic, and weather. On the back end of the news break, Gaming Control Board head Ronnie Johns joins us to talk about where we're at with sports betting in Louisiana. Before we hit that news, though, Boo at the Zoo coming up this weekend and next weekend. You know the drill. This is a Baton Rouge staple. You get the little prepackaged bag of candy for the kids 12 and under. Put the whole family in a costume. Enter the costume contest. It's going on at Breck's Baton Rouge Zoo this weekend and next weekend. Boo at the Zoo. It is that time. Great job. Very good. No, very good job. Very good job. We'll get more. This was so killing me for a second. He's good. He's got an uphill battle. John Kennedy is, I mean, before being a senator, Kennedy was a state treasurer for years. And as a state treasurer, he was quintessential public service. So
who knows?
all right.
Complete.
Debbie, yes, I let him off easy. That was an introductory interview, of course. It's a long road to go. The first interview is always, hey, how you doing? Who are you? Thank you. Complete collision. Oh, shit. Call Ronnie Johns.
Morning, is this Ronnie John? Wonderful. This is Morning with Brian Haldane.
737 Talk 107.3 FM. Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Thanks again to Luke Mixon for hopping on board. I got a message on the YouTube response, said I let him off easy. Yeah, that's an introductory interview. That's a hey, who are you? This is as the campaign wears on and as we get more and more candidates entering the race, as we get more issue-oriented, we'll dive into the issues a little bit further, for sure. But that first one, that's always just, hey, how you doing? Who are you? Tell me who you are. Right now, though, time to shift gears there. Sports betting, it's been a process in Louisiana. Daily fantasy is available. I'm making money. Daily fantasy is available right now on your phone. But what about sports betting itself? Got sports books opening up. They're advertising all over the place for sure. Where do we stand? Ronnie Johns heads up the Louisiana Gaming Control Board and provides us with an update right now. Good morning, sir. Welcome back. How are you?
Good morning, Brian. How are you this morning, sir?
I'm doing very well. Appreciate you hopping back
Good.
on board. This has been
Absolutely.
a process. This has been a I don't want to say a slow moving process because I'm happy to have whatever we can have. But bring us up to speed. Where are we right now?
Well, it's the number one question in Louisiana. I tell you, my phone rings every day. It says, Mr. Chairman, when are we getting sports bet? And I'm not going to sit here this morning and give you a definitive date, Brian, but I'm telling you what, we're close. And I know people think it's been a slow process, but in reality, the initial expectation was really around the first of the year when the legislation passed this past spring. After talking to state police, the Attorney General's office, we figured it would be close to the first of the year before we actually got sports bet. We were way ahead of the ball game. We got set back a little bit. Hurricane Ida really messed us up in the respect that the entire gaming division at Louisiana State Police was deployed for and so we lost about 2 weeks of licensing process. But they're back at it overtime right now. They're literally working overtime. We have 13 out of the 20 available licenses. 13 have already applied. Their licensing process is ongoing right now. The other 7 will be applying before the first of the year. But we've got to do it in a very compliant way. We've got to go through what the law says we have to do, and it's not something that we have any discretion on. But we're close, and I know people are anxious for it. I'm anxious for it, but we're going to see some very, very quality projects being built out.
There's 2 different conversations to be had here. One's about the physical sports books, the physical locations. The other's about the mobile. Right. So Correct. Let's start with the sports books, the physical locations. You said 13 of 20 have been filled out. Do we have to wait till all 20 are filled out, or would there be an unfair advantage that others get started sooner?
No, that's up to their discretion when to apply for the license. They actually have up till the December the 31st to put their application in. If they don't put their application in, they lose that ability to get that license. So they're going to apply. I have no doubt that they're all 20 are going to apply. They're going to operate. The initial phase that will be rolled out will be in-house, on property, in a temporary setup. I have visited a number of the properties and looked at what they're going to build out permanently, and I think the people of Louisiana are going to be absolutely amazed at what some of these properties are going to build out in their permanent facilities. Yeah. Now you're looking at probably 8-9 months from now before those are totally built out. But this is going to be Las Vegas quality, maybe even better than some that I've seen in Vegas. So we've got some amazing projects that are coming. So the initial phase out will be on property. You are correct that online is coming behind it, and as we speak, State Police is working through that process. We actually have to go through a suitability compliance process with every one of the vendors that they may be using. Caesars has their own app. There's FanDuel, there's DraftKings. There's actually others out there that do this. But soon as those vendors can get licensed, and we get the process in place. But we're probably looking at a couple of months down the road for online. To be honest with you. Okay. But we're trying hard to get that on. As you know, 55 of the 64 parishes will be eligible for online.
Yes.
The other 9 will be geo-fenced out, as we call it, and but it's going to be a really smooth process that we're going to go through. Actually, we're going to be a step ahead of Mississippi once we get online because Mississippi doesn't have online.
Right.
They got ahead of us. They got ahead of us on land base, but we okayed online with our land based legislation, and so we're going to be a step ahead of Mississippi.
Going back to the process itself, what goes into evaluating those applicants? I mean, because I don't think we're going to hear from any fly-by-night names. I mean, you're hearing from Caesars, DraftKings, the Penn Gaming. Like, you're hearing from big names that have their bona fides elsewhere. Is there what goes into vetting them on the back end? Is it just the companies themselves or the structures they plan to build?
It's more or less the structure and the way that they do it and the way that they're going to report. We have some very specific laws that have been on the books for a number of years in Louisiana about gaming licensing, and I'm very proud of what we have. It's been it's been a clean industry. We've had very little problems with any kind of violations or anything, but there are just certain compliance issues that they've got to go through, and it's just a process. So we are working through those. I'm telling you on a daily basis, we're pushing hard. I was in a meeting yesterday concerning this, and I'm on top of it every day of the week. So we're getting close, and I'm going to be the first to holler and scream when I sign that first license.
We're all looking forward to it. I guarantee you that. It's because we're in that weird space right now where the daily fantasy is available. So if I want to take Tom Brady and Godwin, Chris Godwin, and Rob Gronkowski on a fantasy roster, I can Thursday night for a one-day fantasy. I can do that, but I can't take the Bucks -7. It's
right.
A weird spot to be in.
It is. I understand, but understand that fantasy was passed by the legislature over a year before Sportsbook was passed. So to actually get fantasy up and running took almost a year for the process to work its way through. Sportsbook's going to come a lot quicker than fantasy came on after the legislature approved it. So there's a positive side to the way we're doing this one.
No, absolutely. And yeah, we want to get it right because the last thing we want to see is have it show up, taken advantage of, and have it be pulled back down again. I mean, if we don't do it right on the front end, we run that risk.
Anybody in business will tell you that the most important thing is the first impression that you make. So that the day that we open this up, it's got to be done right. We got to do it. We don't want any real problems with it. We don't want it to crash. We want it up and running in the right way. And there's just some certain laws we got to adhere to, and we're going to do that. And so we're really. I can just tell you, I know people are clamoring for it, but we're very close. We're very, very close.
Ronnie Johns heads up the Gaming Control Board in Louisiana. Ronnie, I want to ask you about the difference between the temporary sports books and the full build-outs. Is that a separate application process, and are y'all basing applications based off of the potential future of what they're going to have as far as the physical sports books are concerned, or just getting them up and running at all?
We passed some emergency rules a couple of months ago, actually, to allow them to do the temporary, and it'll be in person. They may actually have a few kiosks right there on the property also, but this is going to roll right into their permanent facilities and the permanent rules that we're going to pass. So that's not going to be a problem. That we've encouraged the properties to go ahead and start their build outs already. I can tell you, I'm from the Lake Charles area. It's where I live. Mm-hmm. The Golden Nugget and Gaubert, both in Lake Charles, are building out their permanent facility right now, and it's going to be eye popping what they're building. Gaubert's in Baton Rouge. I've looked at their plans. Hollywood and Baton Rouge. Exciting things going on in Baton Rouge, Brian. Hollywood, of course, is building a land-based casino, minimum $60 million facility. They're going to have a very, very nice sports book there. And we are actually in discussions with the Bell there on the Mississippi River about them doing a significant upgrade of their property. So there's some good things going on right there in that Baton Rouge market for the gaming industry.
They've got the Bell particularly. They got plans beyond the sports book to possibly be a game changer in Baton Rouge. I don't want to spoil too much of that. All right, so you can't. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean nothing's been signed. Nothing's been come to the board definitive on that. But I personally have been part of talks with them of some significant upgrading of the Bell. Huge. So I'm excited about it.
All right, so we can't get a specific date yet. Just soon is but January 1 still a goal, or where are we? I mean,
no, my goal is way before January 1.
Oh, love to hear it. All right, bowl games. Bowl games are in the mix.
Absolutely. Hey, let me just say, you're going to bet on some football games this year, okay?
All right, looking forward to it. He is Ronnie Johns. We
Okay.
appreciate the time, sir. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for having me on this morning.
Always, always. Coming up on 750 at Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. We're going to break for your money now, check traffic, come back with the outside in coming your way next. I guess the part not being talked about there is the bets are still being made. We're just not making money off of them. Like, it's just, there's, no, for offshore, for money. It's just Louisiana tax base is not getting that money. And every week that goes by is another week of wherever you choose to place your wager online is the beneficiary of that, not our tax base.
So I was gonna wait until we were getting close to the segment, but I do have like 8 holidays to talk about, but I only have like 6 events, 6 birthdays, and no deaths.
Okay.
So I think it'll round out to like a lesser segment anyways.
All right.
We're really behind on
I got complete collision here, I know.
complete collision.
Oh, okay. I'll get complete collision in this one. I'll hit my thorns before tossing to you for this day in history. No, I did BRPT and Muyaz.
I gave you VR mattress.
Oh, I did not know that. Okay.
Meet our team of attorneys at Murphy Law Firm before you hire an attorney for your injury case. Visit murphylawfirm.com and your decision will be easy. Learn why we should be your attorney. Get to know us before you call. Main office back in They say America They say nothing is built like it used to be. They haven't met us. We are family business building on 90 years of doing one day.
Whatever, dick.
Online tools help Jessica design her whole building.
The 3D tool is so convenient. I was able to use it in the comfort of my home. I didn't have to physically go into the branch and try to describe to them what I was wanting. I was able to add the lean-to that I've been picturing on my building. I can add roll-up doors, windows. It's really cool. Once I finished my design, I was able to get it flipped. I was amazed at how much my building looked like the building that I designed in that 3D tool.
Visit our website today, BuellerInc.com. Tony Rush along with Sam Willard, Harper's Haberdashery. Sam, your new fall lineup, it's here.
That's right, Corey. We're getting boxes in day to day. New fall merchandise is coming in. You want to look a little different this year than you did last year. Maybe wear a different sport coat, maybe a different suit to any of these parties that you're going to. Come see me, Sam Willard at Harper's Haberdashery.
Harper's Haberdashery, located on Highland Road next to the French Market Bistro, just south of I-10. Harper's Haberdashery.
This is Skip Bertman, and as a coach for over 50 years and the father of 4 daughters, we've had a lot of happiness and accumulated lots of stuff. Dependable Storage wants your stuff. Now open in Baton Rouge. Visit dependablestorage.com.
Now, your WBRZ traffic update from Ashley Fouché.
Look out for slow travel is coming in from Denham Springs. However, no crashes there, just a lot of congestion. About 20 minutes range to the 1012. You can start your drive between Green Range. Add another 10 to that. And just a reminder, Highland is closed at Lee until Thursday evening. Let's take you outside.
No, I've got a number of different news stories I'm going to cover during that segment.
On the eastbound side, as we're seeing more cars hitting the roadway coming in from the west side.
See an accident reported at WBRZ
That's it? 7:55, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. That was an abrupt bumper. CBS News coming your way in just a little bit. Got the outside in coming your way in 60 seconds. Do have to tell you about the folks over at Complete Collision Center. Check them out online at CompleteCollision.com, CompleteCollision.com. Look, I tell you every day about their certifications. Tell you every day about taking on the battle with the insurance company. What I don't always talk about is the level of service you're going to get at both locations, the level of, and I guess this ties in with the certifications as well. They're on Plank Road up in Zachary. They're on Perkins just east of Bluebonnet. I've been a customer of Complete Collision Center, so I know firsthand the level of detail that goes into finding the hidden damage within your vehicle, the level of detail that goes into making sure that what you see on the outside isn't the only thing they fix. Doug and his team at Complete Collision Center, they pride themselves on making sure you're not just back on the road, you're back on the road safely. And I can tell you this firsthand, as I've brought my car over there before as well. They did the full walk around, and as walking around, I'm like, well, there's where the ding is, there's where the rear bumper is even ripped. And Doug's like, no, we're going to have to pull that off, get inside of it a little bit, really take a look on the inside and find out what's going on. And sure enough, there was some damage underneath as well. And shows it to you, oh, by the way. If you need to give them a call, you can find them at 768-9898. 768-9898. That will get you to a main operator who can direct you to the nearest location, either Plank Road in Zachary or Perkins at Bluebonnet. They've got the certifications. They take on the battle with the insurance company, but it's a level of care and attention to detail that really had me completely pleased as a customer of Complete Collision Center. Time for the outside in. Let's get it.
It's time to step outside of East Baton Rouge and get inside our surrounding parishes. About time for me to be hitting the old dusty trail. Really explore space this time. I mean, really. Yeah. Explore the space. The Outside In, presented by BRPT Lake, with 6 locations and extended hours to fit your needs. BRPT Lake has got you covered. Schedule online now at brptlake.com. The Outside In is coming your way now. Get out of this town! Go where? Where are we gonna go?
We're going to start off in Ascension Parish, where Ricky Babb, and the district attorney for the 23rd JDC, says there's a strong likelihood his office will pursue the death penalty from Matthew Meir. Though the crime spree covered 3 parishes, both murders believed to be committed by Meir took place in Ascension, where Babin is the district attorney. It is worth noting Babin has said that a decision has not been made. We're reporting on what he told our news partners at WBRZ, calling it a, quote, strong likelihood. Down in New Orleans, the former Six Flags site now has a future carved out. A proposed water park and hotel by a group called Bayou Phoenix appears they're going to get the go-ahead. Drew Brees and a number of business partners had their eye on the site for a different project. Looks like New Orleans Mayor LaToya Cantrell is going to be is going to give them the opportunity to construct an alternate city site for their project, which includes plans for an urban farm, a series of educational centers, as well as a transportation and logistics hub. Whatever that ends up looking like in the long term, they might get a different site. Over to Iberville Parish, a state corrections lieutenant has been arrested on a charge accusing him of inappropriately using pepper spray on an inmate. 49-year-old Juan Harris of Baton Rouge was arrested Friday on the charge of aggravated battery, according to the Department of Corrections news release. Investigators found Harris violated department policy and the law by failing to follow proper protocol when he used the, quote, chemical agent way back in mid-August. Keeping it in Iberville Parish, the sheriff's office has issued a scam warning. In a Facebook post, Iberville Sheriff's Office says the agency has received reports of calls being made from persons identifying themselves as Iberville Parish Sheriff's Office employees. That is not how they do business. If you get one of these calls, call the Sheriff's Office back at 687-5100, 687-5100. That is the Outside In, presented by BRPT Lake. CBS News is coming your way right now.
Protect your retirement. Visit safemoneyplan.net. It's 8 o'clock.
Baton Rouge, 98.1 HD3, Talk 107.3 FM.
Huh. Debbie says, make them feel comfortable, then attack. I don't attack. I have conversations. I'm not attacking anybody. I'll be back in 1 second. All right. How we doing? How are we doing? Okay.
Now, your WBRZ traffic update from Ashley Fouché.
Well, check in on your drive. Right now, we've got slowdowns coming in from the west side. It's 23 minutes now from Lobdell to College. So approaching the bridge, you're going to see some backups, and it starts to improve once you get past Perkins. Now, we have a crash involving an injury on Foster, south of Government, so look out for emergency vehicles there. Coastal Roadway is closed, Highland and Lee, and it'll be closed until Thursday night, all for drainage repair. Now, if you live in the area,
All right.
otherwise, you can exit at Parker and take Burbank or Highway 30 to get around that closure. Let's take you outside and check on our traffic cameras where we're seeing that slowdown on the bridge on the eastbound side.
See an accident? Report it at WBRZ Traffic on Twitter.
This report is brought to you by Shawbills, where you can get free tire repairs on all household cars when you purchase new tires. It's all part of the Charlie's Dozen, and it's only at Shawbills.
806, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Hour 3 coming your way right now. We're going to talk with State Treasurer John Schroder in our next segment. Got a bevy of topics to cover with Treasurer Schroder, not the least of which is, we always do unclaimed property. I don't even know if we're going to get to unclaimed property today. There's so much going on right now. The Main Street Recovery Program, we've talked with Treasurer Schroder about this in the past. The success rate has been phenomenal. How about, along with that, I want to pick his brain a little bit about the possibility of the IRS having access to your bank account. More to the point, any activity above $600. How do you set an arbitrary line like that? First of all, no. But setting an arbitrary line at $600, once they're in, aren't they in? I mean, like, that would just be silly to think that they would go, oh, no, it's just transactions of $600 or more. Anyway, talk about that a little bit. And if we can, we'll get to a couple of other topics as well, but I have a feeling that those two are going to run pretty deep. Going to get you to this day in history in just a second. Game day is rapidly approaching. LSU, Florida, kicking off at 11 o'clock Saturday morning. You don't want to fire up the grill before dawn. If you're tailgating Saturday, you need Mathern's. Now, there's two locations of Mathern's. One on 3rd Street downtown. The other one is the Mathern's Market that's on Nicholson in the Nicholson Gateway Shopping Center. Nicholson at Skip Burtman Drive, right? Mathern's has party trays, and they can hook you up with a party tray still. You got to get your orders in either today or tomorrow, I believe. 367-6074 is the phone number, 367-6074. Get your game day catered. Make it a little bit easier on yourself. 11 a.m. kickoff is early, right? If you're tailgating before the game, let Mathern's help you out at 367-6074. Of course, stock up on all your beers. They got the craft beers. They've got, they've got all kinds of beers, not just craft beers, but a fantastic selection. If you need recommendations, ask Tony while you're there. He can hook you up and help you out. He's never steered me wrong. He won't steer you wrong either. And, oh, by the way, they are a full-service grocery store. So whatever else you need, you can get at either locations of Mathern's. Downtown on 3rd or Nicholson at Skip Burtman Drive, right across the street from Tiger Stadium. All right, every day we hand things off at this point to Jake for This Day in History. Jake, what you got?
I hate to start things off like this, but we're going to have to go with something with my home state. 1845, Texas ratifies the state constitution. Let's go, Texas.
Yeah, don't say that again.
Sorry. Not sorry.
Then go home. I mean, you're in Louisiana, boss.
Hey,
adopt it.
And I'm having fun.
Yeah, adopt it.
I've been here for years. I'm enjoying myself. But I don't forget where I'm from. 1967, the Seattle Supersonics, now the OKC Thunder, lose NBA debut game 144-116 to the San Francisco Warriors at Oakland.
Okay.
That's unfortunate. 1978, U.S. President Jimmy Carter answers callers' questions on National Public Radio.
All right.
I feel like that'd be a disaster if that was done nowadays. 2016, American singer-songwriter Bob Dylan is awarded the Nobel Prize for Literature.
Cool.
Yeah. 2017, hungry bear crisis due to overfishing leaves 2 people dead and 83 hostile bears shot in eastern Russia.
Weird.
Only in Motherland. And 2019, Simone Biles becomes the most decorated gymnast in history when she wins record 25th medal at the World Championships in Stuttgart, Germany.
So it was on this day in 2010 that the first of the Chilean miners got out of their they were trapped for 33 days, entombed, if you will, for 33 days. This day in 2010 was the first day out, or the first of them got out. Jeez. Also, this day in 1998, for the first time in league history, the NBA canceled their regular season games because labor talks broke off.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Well, that's all the events we got. Let's get right to the birthdays. First up, we have to go with the, I would say, the greatest wide receiver of all time. Jerry Rice turns 59 today.
It's interesting to try and figure out who the greatest wide receiver of all time.
It's
I'm with you. I'm with
generational,
you
but,
on Rice.
Everyone says Jerry Rice.
Yeah, but they throw the NFL throws the ball so much more now.
Yeah.
That numbers are going to eventually be shattered across the board. So, weighing it with number of opportunities, the style of receiver these days, it's going to be a much harder conversation than like the MJ versus LeBron conversation.
Yeah. It's going to be generational too, and as time progresses, it's just going to get more tedious. Next up, we have Sacha Baron Cohen turning 50 today.
Mm-hmm.
Paul Pierce, the truth, turns 44. Jerry Jones, 79 years old on this day. Brian Dawkins, Weapon X himself, turns 48. And current 76ers head coach Doc Rivers turns 60. You got any birthdays for me?
Yeah, Hall of Fame pitcher Trevor Hoffman, born on this day in 1967. And former LSU wide receiver Michael Clayton.
Very nice.
Yeah.
I'll get right to the holidays because I don't have any deaths to report on yet. But today is actually the 246th birthday of the Navy. So happy birthday to them. Next up with the holidays, we have National Transfer Money to Your Son Day. Now that's something I can get behind. National Take Your Parents to Lunch Day. I could take that as well. National Stop Bullying Day. National M&M Day. I don't know why the candy has to have its own holiday, but maybe that's when it was founded. Who knows? National Fossil Day. Also don't know why today of all days for fossils. Alas. We continue. International Day for Disaster Reduction. And finally, International Day for Failure.
Okay.
And that's going to conclude this day in history.
8:13 and Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. We are due up for a break. When we come back, we're going to talk with State Treasurer John Schroder next. Hotline. Okay, we're in the break right now. We got traffic and then coming up, okay? Thank you. Hang tight. Yeah. I'm going to push that back. I got a lot of ground to cover with. As far as I know. Okay. 816 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP, Hour 3 of Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Time to check in with our state treasurer. It's been a minute. We got a lot to catch up on. He joins us now. John Schroder, welcome back, sir. How are you?
Brian, you always sound so cheery in the morning.
I do my best. A lot of caffeine in that.
Yeah, you must have a big surplus working or something.
I'm working Red Bull, 5-hour energy, you name it. That's it. We got it going on. How are you this morning? You doing good?
I can't complain, sir. Very busy, a lot of different things going on, but I can't complain.
So there's two main things. There's a number of things we got to get to this morning, but the two biggest ones. The first one, last time we talked about the Main Street Recovery Program. It was in the process of at the time. Now we're not done with it just yet, but we're at a point where we can look back on what's already been accomplished through the Main Street Recovery Program and kind of acknowledge this thing has worked.
Yeah, it's one of the few things I've seen government do that work, Brian, and I'm not saying that only because the Treasury Department administers the program, but it worked. But let me tell you something that sort of goes under radar, nobody really pays attention to. But have you ever noticed that we don't really care about fraud when it comes to government money? That you don't really see a lot of that in the news on people being arrested or anything about it. We just sort of accept that people are going to steal this stuff, that we give checks to dead people. And, we sort of make funny about it, but we never really do much to stop it. Well, I can tell you, and I'm happy to tell you listeners, that when we ran the $300 million program, in the contract, in the state contract, you have to put how much fraud will you sort of accept? Well, the national average is around 15. They put about 3% in the contract. Well, Brian, our fraud actually came in about 1.5%.
Wow.
So we're sitting in a meeting, and I'm thinking, okay, so the consultants, that run it, they'll say, okay, next step on the fraud, how do we get this money back? Well, that wasn't the case. So I said, wait, time out. How much money we're talking about? It's about $1.6 million out of $300 million.
Mm-hmm.
I said, no, we're not going to just write that off. I want a list, and we're going to go collect this money back. So I've made calls personally, and we're sort of wrapping that up. And, this is sort of how it goes, Brian. You get a phone call one night around 8:30 at night at your house from the state treasurer, Louisiana, and I say, Mr. Haldane, this is the state treasurer, John Schroder. Who? State treasurer. Really? I said, yes, sir. I said, look, we got a little issue. The check you received, by mistake, for $15,000, you weren't eligible for, and you need to send it back. And we can do this one of two ways. You can either send me the check back, or you're going to hear something like this one night on your door. So I'm going to assume that this was a mistake. I want our money back. So we've collected back almost $450,000.
Wow. So that's knocking $1.5 million down by roughly a third.
Yeah. So I'm real proud of my staff for attacking that, and we have to have a zero tolerance for this stuff. We got $50-something billion in federal aid coming to the state that's already been here or coming over a 3-year period. Can you imagine if there's a fraud rate of 15-17%?
No, yeah, it's a ridiculous number. You're talking about a number that would make a significant change to the overall state budget.
So there's no deterrent because we don't really go out and get it. That's just one of the many things that I've seen as treasurer and being at this level that we have to do much, much better at. We really don't care if people get money, if they deserve it or not. That's just not the way it's supposed to be. So anyway, long story short, we did get all the money out within 6 months. We're sort of wrapping that up. Then the legislature came back with another $15 million for loggers and theaters. And in fact, I just got off the phone call this morning. Again, a little difference between me and typical government. I told the administrators this morning, you can't make the horse drink the water. We've promoted it. We're making phone calls. and they don't seem to be applying. And I said, look, we're going to give it till next Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And if by next Friday it doesn't look like we're making any headway, then we're going to pull the plug and send the money back to the state and tell them, tweak your rules that people aren't applying for it, instead of spending all the administrative dollars and not giving any money out.
State Treasurer John Schroder is our guest, talking about the Main Street Recovery Program, and we'll get to some other stuff in a minute. But Treasurer Schroder, I want to ask you about going back and reclaiming some of those fraudulent dollars or fraudulent checks. Is there a way to take what y'all just did with Main Street Recovery and kind of write a template to where this can be replicated, to where this can become standard operating procedure?
Yeah, Brian, I'd like to get some people in the room and look and see why were we successful.
Yeah.
Because it's rare. So, look, the state's still sitting on millions of dollars from Katrina, millions of dollars from the 2016 floods. I mean, you've heard all the conversations. We just, for some reason, are just incredibly inefficient. We've been helping not to jump off into unclaimed property, but if you went to our Facebook page, Brian, you'll see a post that they made yesterday. I had mentioned it before, but I got reacquainted with this gentleman last week. We found a homeless man that had a 6-figure claim in unclaimed property.
Wait.
Now, if you were this guy was homeless and still was homeless as of last week. But when I set him up with the state or the proper authorities, it took over a week to finally get somebody from FEMA to meet him at his house that he's been out of since Katrina.
How did you get in touch with him in the first place? I mean, let's not overlook. You just said a homeless person with $250,000 or a six-figure. I assume quarter. A six-figure, 6 figures worth of unclaimed property. How do you get hold of him in the first place?
Yeah, it was luck. It was a God thing. We sort of put together what I call my hit squad on unclaimed property, because typically with unclaimed property, Brian, there's over $900 million in that program. That's on paper that belongs to people across Louisiana. But one of the things that in the daily grind of doing this, once it went into the pot, so to speak, and the team wasn't working on a claim, they would just go into a pile, and a lot of those were big claims. I mean, 6-figure claims. Mm-hmm. So I have about $66 million of $25,000 or more.
Wow!
You follow me? So out of the $900 million, there's about $66 million of that is $25,000 or more. That's a lot of money.
That is a lot of money.
So we started at the top, and we found our largest claims, and when we put this team together, we have a trained investigator that we brought on, and they're just checking obituaries, started just doing it the old-fashioned Perry Mason way, and just grinding it out. And long story short, this gentleman, he's 70 years old, Army veteran. He had a check, a CD from a bank that has been in the unclaimed property program for 18 years.
Wow.
18 years. And you heard me talk about why we shouldn't spend this money and let the state spend it. It's not their money. It's a prime example. 18 years it took for us to find this, but technology has allowed that, and they just did some due diligence. They actually found the family name in obituary, and believe it or not, they called the funeral home. The funeral home director gave them the family contact, and they tracked this guy down. But the funny thing about it is he's had the same cell phone for 22 years. He's had the same cell phone number. Nobody ever, to include the bank, I won't mention the bank, nobody ever stopped to just call the guy. They were sending mail, but he's been out of his house since Katrina, so the mail got returned. The bank thought that the guy was lost and sent the money to the state.
That is incredible. I mean, you're talking about just that's life changing to put someone back in their home that they've been out of for 15 years now. That is.
But Brian, here's my point about government. And you asked, I know this is a long answer to your question, but I fussed with some people this week because it took me getting involved, and over a week, with all the billions and billions of dollars the feds are spending, we couldn't get this guy in any place to live.
Yeah.
It ultimately turned to me calling to a private owner who has a lot of apartments to put this guy in an apartment until we get his house up in livable standard. It's just sad. Government's so incredibly inefficient, and nobody, people get their I'm trying to be nice about it, but people get disrupted or don't like when you question how long it takes to do something, and it's just wrong. The people do need the money, and if we're going to have it, let's get it out in an efficient way, so we can help people. So that would be probably an interesting exercise for me to put everybody in the room and see why was this so successful.
Yeah, very good question, and it's one that I'd like to see an exploration of an answer because it could lead to a better way of doing business as far as the state is concerned. Hey, while I've got you here, and there's so many different topics, but I've got to ask you about. Okay, so there's no way I can present this without being biased about it. I don't like the idea of the government spying on my bank account. And now we're looking at the possibility of the IRS having access to any activity over $600. This, I don't know if it dives directly into your office, but I know it's going to be at least on your radar. Is this possible? Is it legal? Is it something that we should legitimately be on the lookout for?
Yeah, look, you talk about an incredible overreach or whatever invasion by the federal government. It's unbelievable. So your listeners understand, yes, I've been all over this for about 2 months, and I'm really surprised, Brian, you're the first person to ask me about this publicly.
Really?
We've posted it on Facebook and put it out there, and it really hasn't gotten any legs, to be honest with you. But what's happening is, a couple months ago, one of the ways the Biden administration has come up with to pay for their spending is to crack down on tax cheats. Well, they decided that the best way to do that was to start making banks, credit unions, any financial institution, Venmo, any transaction of $600 or more would have to be reported to the IRS, which means the transaction goes with your name, your Social Security number, all your private information, and that would be turned over to the IRS. I found out about it just through our briefings. I'm the national chair for this the National Treasures organization I belong to. I'm the national chair for policy, and so I've been very involved. We sent a letter to the Biden administration, I guess about 30 days ago. And 25 treasurers and state auditors from around the country signed this letter opposing this legislation. It's sort of hidden in the the 2 feet thick bill. It's just buried in there. So the congressional delegation, most people had no idea, and our policy people that work for the organization found out in D.C., notified our senior team, and then the state treasurers have jumped on this. But we don't know for sure if it's going to happen, but we're treating it like it is, and we've asked people to call their senators, call their congressmen, and voice their opposition to this. So it's catching some legs, but you talk about every transaction over $600 in today's dollars, Brian. I've talked to the Bankers Association. The incredible amount of work that would go into that not to speak of the outright invasion into our lives, is just incredible. And it would drive the cost of banking up tremendously.
No, it absolutely would, and the repercussions go so much deeper than that. We're going to have to continue to explore this at another time, though. We're just straight up out of time. State Treasurer John Schroder, I appreciate you hopping on board this morning.
Thank you, Brian.
Absolutely, thank you. We are super late for news, but that. Sometimes topics hit a radar that I just do not want overlooked, and this is one of them. What would the repercussions of something like this be? We've got a lot of ground to cover in our next segment, so I tell you what, let's break for our local news, traffic, weather. When we come back, we'll explore that and a few other things. We've got plenty more ground to cover here on Talk 107.3. No, just local news. It's over with. Go to local news. Yeah, once we blow past it, it's done. Yeah.
So the live reads that we've had recently, BR mattress.
The only one I've still got left is a BR mattress. Oh. Yeah. My mom has money in the unclaimed property thing. So does my dad, but his is less than $25, and it's. I don't know what the process is. I've never claimed it before because I never have money in it. But yeah. Also, my dad passed a decade ago, so it's just $25 been sitting there for a decade.
Conditions today will be summery yet again, with humidity will be uncomfortable as temperatures reach the upper 80s this afternoon. Skies will have some passing clouds, but showers are very likely today. Overnight temperatures will drop down to near 70 degrees. These same warm and humid conditions will continue through Thursday and parts of Friday. On Friday evening, a cold front will move through the area. It will spark up a few showers along the way, but noticeably cooler and drier air.
That unclaimed property program is pretty magnificent. Yeah. .838 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. 2 segments to go here on Mornings with Brian Haldane before we hand off to the Fox News Rundown. Thanks again to State Treasurer John Schroder, talking about, among other things, putting 6 figures into the hands of a homeless person that has been out of his home since Katrina. So I assume he's in the New Orleans area. Been out of his home since Katrina. Able to get him back into his home, able to put a life back together through the unclaimed property program. I'm always fascinated by the program well, I don't have a lot of money. I don't like to take care of it. I like to know where it's at. That being said, though, you'd be surprised what falls through the cracks from time to time. I just typed my last name in, and sure enough, my mom's in there, my dad's in there, and my aunt is in there. Of course, my dad and my aunt have both passed. But, yeah, go to the state treasurer's website and type your last name in, or type your last name and your zip code in, and that way it'll narrow it down a little bit. But yeah, you can find some dollars in short order. Now, over to the other topic about the IRS being to look up your bank transactions of more than $600. This, to me, while a remarkable invasion of privacy and a complete overreach by the federal government, to me is going to have repercussions beyond what they're seeing. Or as they say in economics, the law of unintended consequences. You want to see people stop using their banks and going to cash, or stop using cash and going to some level of a barter system? Start snooping on people's bank accounts and watch how quickly they'll just withdraw money underneath the designated amount and pay for things in cash. Watch how quickly they just stop relying on their bank for example, buying a used car. I mean, if I'm going to go buy a used car, what would stop me from? Well, obviously, I'm going to finance that used car, and if my payments are under $600, I shouldn't have to worry about it, right? With apologies to Dave Ramsey, financing a car. But if my payments are under $600, I shouldn't have to worry about it. If I'm making a down payment, though, wouldn't I want to handle that via cash? Get it off of the government's books, if you will? And it's one example. One example out of, let's say it's not a time of emergency where, we just went through a whole bunch of people who bought generators and got reimbursed by FEMA, right? Well, let's say you're buying a generator outside of that window that FEMA's paying people back for. And you walk in and you spend, a good $800 on a generator. Why does the federal government need to know that? Wouldn't you just opt towards instead taking out a couple $100 at a time and going and paying cash for it? And how deep does this run as far as what they're able to look in on you at? For example, if I put a lot of stuff on my credit card to build miles and I just pay off my credit card every month, is that transaction of paying off my credit card going to come back to haunt me? There's so many different aspects here. And believe me, once you're in for 600, you're in for 5. And once you're in for 5, you're in for 4. Basically, once a foot is in the door will be kicked open. Such an overreach. Anyway, I look forward to talking to the treasurer again. We got to talk to him a lot more often. He's a valuable resource that we should be leaning on a lot more. We got a lot more news to cover here this morning. We are nowhere near done. I was set to talk about cats in this segment, not felines, the bus service. But I do need to tell you about the folks over at the Baton Rouge Mattress Outlet, 4065 Florida Boulevard, or 18181 Jefferson Highway. That's the corner of Jefferson and Housatoo. That is the Baton Rouge Mattress Outlet. They've got deals going on all the time. They've got great financing options going on all the time. And if you mention you heard about it right here on Talk 107.3 FM, you will get free delivery. But with the Baton Rouge Mattress Outlet, both locations, doesn't matter which location, you'll get top name brand mattresses. You'll get an adjustable base should you want an adjustable base, and it feels like they're always on sale. There's a number of different names that are constantly on sale. It rotates regularly. But how often are you paying attention to the mattress you sleep on? I mean, yeah, we lay down on it every night, but are you really paying attention to what you're laying down on? And when you wake up in the morning, have you gotten the best night's sleep? 4065 Florida Boulevard in Mid-City. You can give them a call at 930-5779, or the corner of Jefferson and Housatoo. You can give them a call at 223-6001. Mitch Kimball and his team, they want to take care of you at either location of the Baton Rouge Mattress Outlet. And yes, mention you heard about it here. You'll get free delivery. All right, so the Baton Rouge Area Chamber sent out a press release yesterday that caught my eye. It says BRAC releases public policy commentary on CAT's performance and future goals. We've got a millage renewal coming up on CATs. Now, generally speaking, millage renewals fly their way through. It's approving new taxes that runs into problems. But where we find ourselves right now with CATs is BRAC is seeking public commentary, but is it going to matter? Here's a press release. Baton Rouge Area Chamber yesterday, released a public policy commentary analyzing the capital area transit system performance against published goals of its current millage cycle. The agency's plans for the upcoming renewal period. CATS has a 10.6 mil renewal that will be on your November 13th ballot. The commentary is available at brac.org/research. brac.org/research. Trey Godfrey is the Senior Vice President of Public Policy for BRAC. He says the upcoming millage renewal represents nearly 60% of CATS's annual budget. It is important that the business community make an informed decision on this critical service with as much information as possible. Here's the problem, though. What sway will that public commentary hold when we go to the polls on November 13th? If they're doing great, great. If they're doing poorly, is it going to matter? We're stuck with CATs because they are our only option for public transit right now. We're not in a position to overhaul the whole thing. We're just stuck where we're at. And we've heard the line a million times where if you're going to have a great, vibrant city, you've got to have reliable public transportation. Well, even if they're not reliable, we don't have any other option for public transportation. So by default, they're the most reliable. Anyway, I've ridden CATS buses maybe 3 times in the last 4 years, maybe. I only remember 2 of them, so there might be a third. But BRAC put out, with their public policy commentary, a number of different promises and performances that went along with CATS. For example, promise, decreased peak hour wait times between buses from the current average of 75 minutes down to 15 minutes. The performance? Based on the pandemic, 85% of routes had a 30-minute frequency during peak periods, and on-time performance improved to over 70%. 30 minutes waiting on a bus. Over 85% of those routes. Promise. Lay the foundation for a bus rapid transit system. Performance? Launched the design phase of the Planck-Nicholson BRT in 2020, with operations anticipated to begin in 2024. Promise. Replace the spoke system with a grid system. Now, this is one that you don't have to ride the bus to know that they've been effective on. And, yeah, it's a rare day that I'm taking Katz's back, but they did reroute their whole system over to a grid system. Promise. Increase routes from 19 up to 37. They operated up to 31 routes pre-COVID, which I don't know how much of all of what's going to go into votes on November 13th is going to be based off of pre versus post-COVID. Along with other promises that they've performed on, they have installed or refurbished 177 new bus shelters. They were supposed to overhaul all of them. 177 got that done. Let's see. Overhaul all signage for transit stops, providing detailed route and time information. The performance there, using various signage to relay information to customers at transit stops with route and time information. Add GPS tracking to the fleet with exact arrival times accessible on cell phones. In that regard, the performance was smartphone Route Shout 2.0. It's the app they use. It tracks bus arrival times. Oh, they also added public Wi-Fi on the and security cameras on the buses as well. And they wanted to increase the peak hour buses from 32 up to 57. They've gotten about halfway. Well, yeah, about halfway there. They're at 44. So they've increased by 12 and need to increase by another 13. They've reduced the age of the fleet by 50% by adding new buses, including electric buses as well. So if you want to take part, brac.org/research, brac.org/research, and comment on Katz. It's one of those ones where I don't partake often enough to feel like I'd be an informed critic. Pay the millage, though. That should be worth something. All right, we got a break here. When we come back, got 2 or 3 more topics we still need to cover. I want to talk a little bit about Senator Cassidy was speaking about infrastructure needs. Got some comments there. And William Shatner might be in space by now. I haven't looked up. I didn't get to catch the launch time. We got to catch your money now. We'll check traffic as well. And then we'll have one more segment to go before we hand off to the Fox News Rundown. Hey, want to remind you one more time about the all-new Talk 1073 mobile app. It's presented by Gregory Ricks and Associates. The Talk 1073 mobile app by Gregory Ricks and Associates. You can listen live. You can listen on demand. You can even set an alarm to wake up with this show if you so choose. The Talk 1073 mobile app is presented by Gregory Ricks and Associates, who, by the way, side note, they host Winning at Life every night, every weeknight at 7 right here on Talk 1073. Hey, Jake. Hey, can I catch you Friday morning?
6:35? Okay. No way I'm letting Florida week go by without getting you in. Will do.
It.
Chevy trucks are known for their legendary dependability and capability. And right now is the right time to find your next Chevy truck. It's time to forge ahead with Chevy Silverado. It's time to take on new challenges. And it's time to take it to the next level. It's the perfect time to do more in your next Chevy truck. See your Super Chevy dealers today.
Week 6 in the NFL continues Sunday when the Pittsburgh Steelers host the Seattle Seahawks. Tune in Sunday night at 7 on your home for Sunday Night Football. Talk 107.3, the new flavor of talk.
This is Skip Bertman, and as a coach for over 50
All right.
years and the father of 4 daughters, we've had a lot of happiness and accumulated lots of stuff. Dependable Storage wants your stuff. Now open in Baton Rouge. Visit dependablestorage.com.
Join the East Baton Rouge 8th annual Baton Rouge Mini Maker Fair, a family-friendly showcase of invention, creativity, and resourcefulness. This year's week-long hybrid event is going on October 18th to the 23rd. We will celebrate makers, library maker spaces, grab-and-go crafts, an outdoor maker market, a showcase of robotics excellence, and a celebration of robots fighting sumo style. View the complete schedule and register today at batonrouge.makerfair.com. East Baton Rouge Parish Library. We're not your grandparents' library.
Listen to the AGCO Automotive Hour Saturdays at 10 a.m. featuring AGCO Automotive's newest housing station to answer your questions about cars. It's on demand too at talk1073.com and live every Saturday 10 a.m. on Talk 1073 FM.
How do you make the best burgers in Baton Rouge even better? With an extra serving of convenience. Get the Booyah app today and start earning rewards towards free burgers and free shakes. In fact, you'll start with a free order of fries just for downloading the app. Plus, there's app-only specials throughout the year, like special coupons or getting half off on your birthday. And then there's this little secret. When you order delivery on the app, it's actually cheaper than DoorDash. You can use it at either location, Seagan or City Square on Bluebonnet. Get the Booyah app today.
All right, YouTube. I've got a 9 a.m. meeting, so the second the show's over with, I'm gonna have to say goodbye. No bonus stuff today.
Meet our team of attorneys at Murphy Law Firm before you need an attorney for your injury case. Visit murphylawfirm.com and your decision will be easy. Learn why we should be your attorney. Get to know us before you call. Main office, Baton Rouge.
Now, your WBRZ traffic update from Ashley Fouché.
Travel time still up coming across the Mississippi River Bridge from Lawdell to College, 20 minutes through that 7-mile stretch. Right now the road is closed, Highland and Lee, all for some drainage work. It's going to be shut down at that busy intersection until Thursday at 8 o'clock. If you live here, you can pass. Otherwise, turn at Parker and you can take either Burbank or Highway 30 around that closure. 49 minutes due to the 10-12 split. I think that might be overdoing it a tad. So just use caution if you're traveling in from the area, as we still have delays.
See an accident? Report it at WBRZ Traffic on Twitter.
This report is brought to you by Shawbells, where you can get free tire repairs on all household cars when you purchase new tires. It's all part of the Charlie's Dozen, and it's only at Shawbells.
8:56 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Last segment before we hand off to the Fox News rundown, which will carry you all the way up to the Brian Kilmeade show. Curious to see if the Fox News rundown is going to be covering William Shatner, as I believe he is set to take off for space in about 4 minutes. I want to say that was scheduled for 9 a.m. Central. If you haven't followed the story, 90-year-old William Shatner, Captain James T. Kirk himself, is set to go 66 miles up in altitude. Blue Origin, Jeff Bezos' bag. It's the same capsule and rocket that Bezos used for his own launch 3 months ago. The trip should last about 10 minutes. It goes 66 miles up. technically that's in space. I believe everything above 62 is technically in space, but let's be real. You're Captain Kirk. Get your ass in orbit. You're in the sky for 10 minutes. Like in Star Trek terms, you're only going to be up there until the first break. You won't even get the commercial break before you parachute back down. "66 miles up. And then we'll parachute back down into the desert." I was looking to talk infrastructure here in this segment a little bit. Senator Bill Cassidy was speaking in Baton Rouge about infrastructure yesterday. I don't know if we're going to have time to fully dive into that, so let me shift gears and talk about this instead with exactly 2 minutes to go. Today is October 13th. The current Louisiana mask mandate ends on October 27th. By my math, that means we have exactly 2 weeks. What are we looking at when it comes to mask mandates, or whether or not the governor is going to lift the mask mandate after the current expiration? There are a number of different, what they're calling gating criteria that they look at. One of the numbers I've been looking at, and I don't know that it's the right number to look at, but one of the numbers I've been looking at is hospitalizations and number of patients in the hospital that are on ventilators. Where we're at as of yesterday, 506 COVID-19 patients still in the hospital. Now, remember, back in August, the back third of August, was it August 17th? We were at 3,022. We're now at 506. We are at 102 patients on ventilators. Yesterday, there were 1,129 new cases, 34 new deaths reported. But the hospitalizations is just one of the gating criteria. The percent positivity plays a big role in this. And if you pull up the Department of Health's dashboard, that very first map they're going to show you has a ton of red on it. The number of parishes that are in red, which is at 50 right now, the number of parishes that are in red plays a factor in the governor's decision. Now, underneath red, we'll call it orange. Underneath that is yellow. Underneath that is blue. Red is the highest risk of positivity, followed by high, followed by moderate, followed by low. 2 weeks ago, we had our first blip in the radar. We had our first parish cross over to move from the highest risk to just high risk. Last week, 1 week ago today, we moved that number up to 14 parishes, one of them dropping all the way down to moderate. Curious to see where the numbers are going to play out today. This is going to be one to follow, and we will follow up on it tomorrow morning. Meanwhile, Fox News Rundown's coming up next. Thanks for listening. All right, YouTube, later.